All right, all right. 9393. All right, 9393. You already know what it is. Welcome back to reality. Welcome back to reality. What's up, Immortal 72? What's up, Mary 93? What's up, Ty? Welcome back to reality. I don't know what the fuck has been going on. But yeah, let's set some shit straight. What's up, Stefan? Let's get this shit straightened up, right? I had to black out. I had to black off YouTube for a minute. Like, some of this shit just be too much. It's like I'm born in this time, but it's like I feel like I'm not from this time. Let me explain. Before we get in, what's up, Mon 293? It's like I'm in this time, but it's like I don't feel like I'm from this time. What do I mean by that? Let me turn this down a little bit. Hold on. Meaning, I'm glad that we're in the 21st century. I'm glad that we're in our, with every positive comes. So the negative side of having the liberation that we have, having the freedom that we have people on renegade time. We have people being renegades, right? The renegades is the one that fucks shit up for everybody, right? What do I mean? There's a reason why, even if you're on YouTube, why you have to click on this video is not made for children. Because, people are, I don't know who the fuck's idea was it to fuck around with children on YouTube, but somebody was doing it, and now everyone, has to go through this extra shit now, right? This has been the case from the beginning of time. I'm not saying anything new here. What I'm saying is, it's only so much of it that I can tolerate. I can't be on the internet. I can't be on. I'm paying attention to everything that moves, but I just observe. Right? Before I speak, before I open my mouth, I'm going to observe. That's why I took time to step back because, like, if I'm just constantly talking, I'm not doing enough studying. I just decided, let me get back on my studies. Let me get back on my supreme divine timing, which something only I can do, only we can do for ourselves, right? Nobody has the answers. Nobody can tell us the keys and all that. We may want to pretend like other people tell, right? Right? We may pretend like we can get the answers from other people, but we really can't. So another reason why I ain't really been showing up like that. Like I can't give nobody the answers. But I'm just honest about it, right? I'm honest about it. I'm not gonna pretend like I just got all the answers. Even if something makes complete sense to me, don't mean it's gonna make sense to the next person. I understand me the same way that it came off to me. So I have to be understanding and I have to respect that. And a part of that understanding, because again, I've been around the whole fucking time. Even though I feel like I'm just getting started, it's like I've been around. I mean, I've been on the youth scene the entire time, right? That's why I keep reiterating this. So I've seen things evolve from the origins. So I have a unique perspective that not a lot of people have because they haven't been content creators the whole time, right? They're just now catching up. For example, because yeah, I just say that, but what does that really mean, right? Let me give you an example of what I mean. When it comes to content creation, that's why the title was called Technomancy and Cyber Magic. Well, if we're talking about technomancy, we're talking about cyber magic as the last forms of magic. The reason why I'm saying technomancy and cyber magic are last forms of magic because we're in the 21st century. The entire 20th century was dedicated to get us to where we are now. So we literally spent half of the 20th century to get to where we are now. What do I mean by that? Let me give you the historical references, right? We have been studying nuclear technology since not just doing World War II, because in World War II we know that we started to study nuclear technology. We dropping atomic bombs on motherfuckers, killing 80,000 people. We're just being destructive assholes as we are, right? So I'm just not afraid to explain human nature to people. That's just what I'm doing now. I don't give a fuck about being conscious. I don't give a fuck about people being enlightened, divine. I don't care about none of that shit at this point. I maybe used to care about that. But now I realize that you are not going to overcome your own human nature unless that is your goal. But that's not the goal of the average person. So that's not even, we can't even put that on people. That's basically what I'm saying. Like, there's no, don't expect regular people with regular lives doing regular things to be civilized. Don't expect it. Don't expect a person that's just going to work every day, coming home, paying their mortgage, paying their car note, paying their bills. Don't expect this person to be extra civilized, to go the extra mile, to be nice to you. This is what I've been thinking. Let me again, just like, I don't plan on even doing this too often no more, because I don't like to even put this energy in the universe. I don't like to complain about things, especially again. You're not going to see me too much complain like that, right? I don't like it. I'm just bringing forth observations. And if you can acknowledge the same observations, then you know that there is some truth, but it's not ultimate truth. It's just a perspective, right? So take everything I say with a grain of salt, like everybody else. I'm not saying I have the absolute truth, like I have all the answers. This is just simply my angle of things, my perspective. No more, no less. For example, just my own personal observations. Like, for example, like this whole idea of a narcissist. I figured it out. I cracked code. I cracked it. What do I mean by that? Meaning, I've been talking about, narcissists and why that's even a thing now, but I get it now. Because at first I didn't get it. It just kind of hit me out of nowhere. I'm like, why is everybody just all of a sudden concerned with narcissists and assholes? Why do we all of a sudden care about these people like they haven't been here the entire time? Why do we all of a sudden feel need to rename these people and put all this energy? Just as an example, of course, there's many other things going on in the world. I'm just using one example. As now all of a sudden everybody's a fucking victim of a narcissist. But let me explain this. And this is basically what I had to come to the realization of why people actually complain about this type of shit. So this is just an example, but this can be applied to anything. So as much as people want to, let's just say, be a victim of a narcissist, that same narcissist that treated you like however the fuck you feel that they treated you, the same narcissist is a reason why you get paid on time and your check isn't late. Let's just be real. All I'm doing is being real. Let's just stop the bullshit, right? Because people like to be mad about every goddamn thing. But it's misdirected. Because that same asshole that we call the boss, or whoever the fuck the asshole is, whoever the fuck the narcissist is, right? They are the reason why you get paid on time and why you don't have to wait. Because the same people that complain about a narcissist or anybody else, I guarantee that they would not have the capabilities of making sure that you get paid on time. Because if they're over concerned about how they are being treated, how are they going to make sure that you pay your fucking mortgage? If they're overly emotional and overly concerned about what somebody else is doing, the asshole that just so happens to be their boss, well, your boss makes sure that you get paid every week, every 2 weeks, whatever your frequency of pay is. So while you may not like these people, you may have a very deep distaste for these types of people, but these are the same people that make sure that you can feed your family. So as much as a narcissist may be an asshole, they at least have the forethought and the foresight to know that they have to take care of more people than themselves. So they are obligated to do what they have to do to make sure that you get paid. so that you can feed your family like they need to feed theirs. So meaning, they may be the biggest assholes in the world. They may not be likable people. They may have all the problems. They may not be looking at themselves. They may not be doing nothing conscious. They may not be doing anything spiritual, because that's really not their job here. That's why I'm like, I don't even really care about consciousness, spirituality. I'm like, that's really not their job. Their job is to make sure you get paid. That's it. That's really the only purpose they serve. To make sure that payday, you got your check. That's it. You really cannot expect anything more from these type of people, because that's the purpose that they serve. That's why they are in the positions that they're in. And that's why the people that complain about these people are in the position that they in, because they don't have that level of responsibility. It's just that simple. They have the luxury of getting upset or getting mad or feeling some type of way about what somebody else is doing. You can do that when you don't have to you don't have a whole team of people to take care of. You have that luxury. This is truly what poverty consciousness is. I've been cracking these fucking codes. I don't have anything else to do but crack these codes, because I just look at life and I'm like, why is this shit so hard for people? I'm like, okay, I see now. Like, what is it so hard to get about? Your boss is an asshole because your boss, whether it's a he or she, got to make sure that every worker gets their goddamn paycheck. They got to make sure that their bottom line is met every month, every day. They have to make sure that the bottom line is met. They're not here to be nice people. That's not their job. So it's like we are expecting things of people that are not capable of giving us. Let me use another example: relationships. These are things that I really don't be talking about like that, because it just irritates me, right? Instead of us being alone with ourselves and maximizing our own ability, somehow we're looking for relationships. We're looking for partnerships. What the fuck is somebody else gonna give you that you cannot give yourself? Somehow we end up in these stupid ass. Just meaning, I didn't see the most ridiculous shit imaginable online, because everybody's putting their life on display. For whatever reason, people just want to put their disgusting life on display. Why people are doing this is beyond my comprehension, because it's just something that I would never do. If I was going through complete madness, I'm like, I'm not about to display this shit. Let me get some order. But that's just the way I think. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. But I wouldn't be doing anything like that. However, as we all know, we all see, everybody's putting their whole life on blast. And it's disorderly. Everyone wants to put their disorderly lives on blast so everybody can see, as if, like, what do you think the public is going to do? Let's just be real about this. Do you really think the public has the answer? Do you think the public scrutinizing your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, whoever the fuck it is, you think that that's going to actually solve anything when we're not dealing with the cause? The cause is you are mentally fucked. We all are mentally fucked until we do something about it. Just existing in America, can't speak for no other country, I'm not over there. But when you are over here, you basically have a mental sickness just by existing here. Just because of the way the system is set up. It's going to fuck you up mentally. So unless you do something to correct those faults, you're doomed. Hence, just look at the fucking public. Can't get a goddamn thing right. If it wasn't for these goddamn narcissists, this country wouldn't be able to run. See, I understand it now. I understand it now. As much as I hated politicians, as much as I hated the fucking government, I had I felt it all in my chest. Fuck this government. Fuck this life. Fuck this world. I done been through all this shit. I'm like, alright, well, imagine if somebody like me was in charge of some shit. I would blow up the whole damn world with that type of attitude. The world would not be here if I carried that attitude. Now I got a position of power. Now I can hit the nuke button. Now I'm blowing people up. This world would be destroyed if somebody like me was in power at that time of me thinking that way. Right? But it wasn't me. No, was it? It was probably some narcissist. It was probably some politician who was narcissistic as fuck, who was in charge, who made sure that the world didn't blow up. Something that I wouldn't have been able to do because I was too much in my own hatred about the world and how disgusting the world is. I was just too caught up in my own madness to do anything constructive for the world at large or a country at large. Meaning I didn't have the mental capacity to realize that other people's lives are in my hands and I cannot be reckless with that energy. Took me time. I had to grow into that. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be reckless because other people's lives are at stake here. Maybe I should consider that. Which is basically what narcissists do. So as much as we hate these people, they still are considering you because you get paid on time. Which is my whole point. We may hate these fucking politicians, but they are the force that's keeping this country moving. They're the reason why you can go to the supermarket and get food, why you can go to the gas station, put gas in your fucking car, why you can order whatever you want to order from Amazon and it should come right to your door. The reason why things are so simple and easy is not because of me. It's because of the fucking narcissists. It's because of the fucking millionaires and billionaires that the public hates. Because we're just so trapped in poverty consciousness. Poverty consciousness has nothing to do with money. Has everything to do. Because let me give you an example. Again, I've been thinking about that. Like, so these are not thoughts that I'm having right now. I'm just explaining. These are the thoughts that just been going through my mind for I guess the past couple of days. So I'm just giving you everything like all in one spiel, which is a lot different because normally, I just talk off of the dome, but this is not me really talking off of the dome. This is me. Like, I just been thinking about these things anyway. So, that's why the first thing I wanted to do is just be honest, right? I'm like, I was not qualified to even be in a position of power because I had too much hate in my heart. I had to deal with that first, which I can't do if I'm thinking about, what's the next video I should make? What's the next lesson I should teach? I'm like, wow, that's like, fuck all of that. If I'm not right within myself, I'm not qualified to teach nobody anything. Again, let me deal with my own self before I present myself to the world. Like I got a fucking solution, but my own life is chaos. Like who the fuck am I to tell anybody anything? Alright? But that's just my own self-reflection. Right? Wasn't always that way, but that's just where it is now. Let me get back to what I was saying about poverty consciousness. The perfect example is the entertainment industry, right? Everybody asks, why is the entertainment industry so goddamn messy, right? It's because just because you have money don't mean that you broken out of poverty consciousness. Let me explain what I mean by that. Just because a person hands you more money than you've ever had, now all of a sudden you're not impoverished. But that doesn't change your consciousness. Let me give you an example. Do you think let's just use rappers, right? Do you think rappers are stunting on their equals? Let me explain that in a different way. All these entertainers, all these rappers flashing their money, the jewelry, whatever it is they have. Do you think they're doing that for their equals? Meaning, do you think they're showing what they have? The people that can buy the same thing that they can buy? Let's just be honest here. Or are they stunting on the have-nots? The people that can't do what they can do? Let's just be honest about this. It's called poverty consciousness. Because you would think, okay, why would a person that have stunt on people that don't have? It's called poverty consciousness. It never had anything to do with money, but we have tricked ourselves to thinking that poverty consciousness has something to do with money. It never had anything to do with money because there's plenty of people with money that still are in a poverty consciousness. Why else would you care to show off? If everybody has what you have, what would be the point? There would be no point. But this is how the system works. The system gives these people the money and tell the people to see. This is what they mean by the devil is in the details. This is what they mean by that. If I hand you $100,000, and I tell you, make sure, because this is what they're being told. Go on your social media and be flashy, not to the people that have what you have, but for the people that don't. Because all that's doing is making us hate them. And now it just becomes a war versus the haves and the have-nots, which is the plan. But we don't see the chessboard because we're just looking at the money. So if you have these people that's constantly reminding you of what you don't have, it puts a very bad taste in your mouth. Because they're just loud and they're boisterous about it. It's just not likable. It's very distasteful. There's no culture. There's no refinement. It's just literally a person running their goddamn mouth with no substance. It's just the most hollowest thing that you can imagine. So of course it's going to piss people off. But we don't understand that it's not them that's even doing that. They're being told. Like, we think these people are extra smart. They're not. We give them too much credit. You think that they are in control of their own destiny? They're not. If you were in control of your own destiny, there would be no need to sign to a record label. You don't sign to a record label, or you don't sign any contract for that matter, if you are in control of your own destiny. What can that business give you that you can't give yourself? It may take you longer to get it, but you can still get it. There's no rush. But why do we feel so rushed? Poverty consciousness. We feel like we just got to get it as quick as it is to get got. We don't want to grow old. We don't want to mature. We don't want to see things from a grand view. We just need to get everything immediately, right? Spend as quick as we get it. And they just let you do it. You think they care that you go into debt? That you owe? All that means is, here, let me get those masters. Let me get that publishing. We good. So they let you go, but then you have no mastering, no masters, no publishing. So now they can do whatever, your music, your movies, whatever it is that you did, they can do whatever they want with it. And they can continue to get paid forever. And you're cut out of the deal, which was their intention from the beginning. Because they already know what they're dealing with. See, this is what we don't understand, that they have this shit locked down to a science. We don't want to acknowledge the sinister nature of all of this, because it just shows how disgusting we are as humans. But we don't want to accept that. That's why I'm like, this is beyond color, this is beyond culture, this is beyond anything that you think it's about, right? Of course, they want us to make it about black and white, about red and blue. They want us to make it about that, but it's not about any of that, right? We're actually more alike than different. But when we blow out of proportion our differences, now we create enemies that we shouldn't even have had in the first place. If we understand how the game is truly played, but we don't. Why? Because we're thinking about the next thing. We're thinking about the next song, the next video. What's up, Blue Mahogany Queen? We're too concerned, and well, let me explain why. Right? It's like I can't deny the spirit. That's one thing I will say. I'm not gonna sit here in front of you and say that I'm more intelligent than you. I'm not. Nothing, by no means at all. The only thing I do is I pay attention to the spirit. The spirit reveals this stuff to me. I just have to acknowledge it. That's all. All I do is acknowledge it. Now I could choose to deny it. I just choose not to, because again, it's not always tasteful. The thing about being spiritual is a lot of times it's distasteful. At least at this point for me, the spirit reveals a lot of harsh truth to me that may be uncomfortable to hear. But nonetheless, am I not supposed to acknowledge it? Maybe the next person would pretend and feed you more bullshit, but that's just not my responsibility, right? I'm here to give you the game as it is. What you do with it is what you do with it. You can take heed or not, but the results will be based on your comprehension of what I'm saying. Let me explain. On this platform called YouTube, YouTube pays you. It's called AdSense. So when people have ads in front of their videos, during their videos, in the videos, they get half of that. YouTube cuts half of the advertisement revenue with the creators, right? So you get 50, YouTube gets 50, or maybe a 55-45, right? Maybe a 55, they get 55, you get 45, 50-50. It's somewhere along those lines, right? So the ad revenue is split between YouTube and the creators. So the creators get paid based on the ads, right? Which is based on the viewership, right? You get paid basically like per 1,000 views, right? So essentially every 1,000 views, it's a certain amount of money that you make. So of course people are going to be inclined to make the most ridiculous content imaginable, as we call clickbait, because that's what is paying their fucking mortgage. Again, this is what I mean by the bottom line. When we understand the bottom line, this is why people are so fucking disgusting, and it's no time soon. Why? Because as long as YouTube is paying the rent, the mortgage, the car note, putting food in your stomach, put you in a situation, now you're in a position that you've never been in before. But at what cost? There's always a cost. The cost is your fucking soul. What do I mean by that? There's certain content you can say that's guaranteed to get views. And that content is mostly negative. Now, of course, you guys, some funny stuff in there. But most of the content that's guaranteed to get views is the clickbait and the negative content. Rapper gets killed, everybody in their goddamn mama's talking about it. Why? Is it because they actually give a fuck? No, it's because it's a check. They know it's going to get thousands of views. It's payday. That's just the hardcore truth about it. People don't report on shit because they actually care. People don't report on the news because they actually want change. This is what keeps the lights on. So if I gotta be a disgusting individual and push my morals to the side to keep the lights on, then some people are going to make that decision. All right, what's up, Dank Wizard? Been a while. How you been? Been coolin'. I've been better than I ever been, honestly. Cause I ain't been on here. That's why. I've been better than I. Cause you get sucked into this social media, right? It takes you on a journey, and you may find yourself basically. Hold on, it's like I'm trying to be nice about this shit. It's just not working. See, when I try to filter my words, I'm like, I'm just incapable of doing this shit, huh? I try to be cultured. I try to be refined, right? I try to show you civilization. But I also have to acknowledge that that's like going against your nature. See, again, I didn't understand this at first. That's why I can come on YouTube and make all these goddamn videos. Because really, what do they call it? Ignorance is bliss. I'm just telling the truth at this point. Because there's nothing to lose, right? Again, I was just talking about YouTube. YouTube gives you a reason to be a disgusting individual. Because they're going to pay you. And this is what most people do. That's why majority of the content is bullshit. It's not going to actually help anybody in life with anything other than the content that shows you how to do things yourself. That's great, but that's not the majority of the content. That's a small percentage. It may seem like it's big, but it's not. It's a very small percentage of the content, meaning it's only a very small percentage of content on YouTube or any other platform for that matter that's actually useful and helpful. Very small percentage. How do we know? Because all you got to do is go on your homepage on YouTube right now, and you tell me what percentage of the videos that you see on your homepage that's actually useful? Is it the majority or the minority? It's going to be the minority. Why? Because YouTube wants to push bullshit. Why? Because they want to keep you in a impoverished mentality. So if I go on YouTube and I'm seeing all this content about how women ain't shit, how niggas ain't shit, eventually I start to take on that energy. Eventually now I'm looking at women crazy. Because I've been consuming too much content from hateful motherfuckers. Because again, you don't see yourself changing until it's too late. That's what happens. It's like, if people saw it, they wouldn't do it. Like, I'm becoming a disgusting individual. It's not like you're looking at it. It's like you don't realize it. It's like a habit. You don't realize that you're building up a habit till you start to see the negatives of it. Negatives of it. That's why there's so much beef. There's so much tension. Nobody gets along. Right? That's how I've been able to avoid it. Right? Let me actually change the song here. I've been able to avoid a lot of the bullshit because I seen it before it happened. Meaning I saw myself going in a certain direction, then I tilted. Hold on, let me change this. Hold on. Hold on. What I mean by that is, like, when I feel myself like getting too consumed because I'm looking at, oh, maybe I should talk about this, maybe I should talk about that. So like I force myself to essentially have to delve into bullshit because I'm looking for topics to talk about. I'm looking for, well, what's going on in the news? Well, when you're looking for content, essentially, it forces you to have to dig in a goddamn dumpster, meaning you're going to see ridiculousness. So even if it's my intention to just report on what's going on, I'm still, again, just look at it now. Like, I literally had to delete Google News out of my phone. I literally just had to delete the app because I'm like, every time I try to go on here just to see what's going on in the world, I'm always fed with shit that don't have nothing to do with nothing. What do I mean? I'll show you right now. I can show you right now. So I'm going to pull up Google News, and I guarantee, and I'm just going to read the title of a story, like, why is that there? All I'm trying to do is be educated about what's going on in the world. Now let me show you the type of shit that they infect you with so that you can see what I'm talking about. Don't just take my word for it. Let me give you an example here. Where you can't even educate yourself properly without being, they're real sneaky about this shit. That's what I mean. It's like, all right, you have a genuine intent. Let me see what's going on in the world. That's your intent. Nothing negative about it. But in the midst of having that intention, now you got to deal with the bullshit. So now, there's going to be something there that makes you want to clickbait. Guess who just got married? Guess who just got a divorce? Guess who just got cheated on? It's all of that tabloid shit. When you click on it, it's just a bunch of, okay, let me give you an example. All right. And this is what I mean, like, it's like at a certain point, like, you just have to delete the shit, right? Like, I just can't use Google News no more at this point. I have to find another source. Because if I'm fed with, like, yo, I didn't come here for that. But a lot of people do. But that's just American media. American media. There is so much bullshit that just didn't need to be written at all. And they're putting this shit on the front page of Google as if we just have to know this shit. Stuff that didn't need this shit. Something that people know, and it's not. For example, again, I'm on Google News right now, and this is supposed to be the top stories. But let me read you one of these titles. Like, what the fuck does this have to do with the top news? All right? To the point where I'm like, all right, this is clearly not the place I should be. Let's see. For example, we have things here like Chinese billionaire, what is it, Steve Bannon, arrested in $1 billion fraud, right? You can say, okay, that's pretty, interesting. The billionaire got arrested for fraud. Okay, so I understand why that would be on the front page, right? So I'm just giving you an example. Let me be well rounded, so I can understand why something like that would be on the front page. But what I cannot understand, let me give you an example what makes no sense. Then we can move on. We ain't got to take too much time on this, right? They're also talking about, Microsoft signing deals to bring Activision games to even more services. Okay, that's technology, no problem, right? No problem. Then you have things like it says Lisa Vanderpump, which I have no idea who that is. So is this? I don't have no bias against this person. I have no idea who this is. It says Lisa Vanderpump speaks out amidst Pump Restaurant's uncertain future. And it's like, okay, what the fuck does? Why is that top news? Why is that top news? Another example. The masked singer reveals identity of the squirrel and the, what is it, jackalope? Is that necessary to know? Why am I seeing this on the front page? Somebody's talking about the future of a restaurant that they started that don't have nothing to do with them. They put up the money, so they're gonna take the profits as well as the losses like any other business, right? Why is that on the front page? What is so important about this particular person? Nothing at all. It's just there to take up space. Now we're talking about the identity of squirrels. Now they're talking about cartoons. Again, I'm not saying that this is irrelevant. Obviously, some people care about this. But is it front page newsworthy material? I beg to differ with that. I don't feel like that's newsworthy, right? How do you feel about the banks crashing? Well, it's plural, right? Because it's more than one bank at this point. It actually was three banks. For those who don't know, the Silicon Valley Bank crashed, who had been around for 40 years. So a bank that been, funding the startups basically in the technology sector. Which then, this goes right into the point of me making this video, right? And as you see, I know exactly what you're talking about because my eyes are everywhere, right? The all I seeing. That's really what this is really about, right? That's really what this is about. And I got all these computers right here. If you really want to know what I've been doing, I've been trying to game. That's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to game, meaning I came up as a gamer. Like as a child, you couldn't take me off of the PlayStation and the Nintendo 64 and all that. But once I became an adult and I started working, I just didn't have time to game anymore, right? So I haven't gamed in like fucking 10 years. It's been like over 10 years, right? However, every now and then a game comes along. I'm like, oh, let me check that out. For me, right now, it's Far Cry 6 for the gamers out there. It's Far Cry 6. Been checking out the Far Cry 6. Now I'm checking out the Red Dead Redemption 2. Just things that been out already, but I'm just catching up on because I'm not a gamer like that. But if they seem interesting, let me check it out. And I've been thinking about the Harry Potter, the Hogwarts. May check that out. May not. But again, I go back further than that, right? Meaning I used to have the Harry Potter books. So like my idea of Harry Potter is different than the average person who just watched the damn movies or who just played the game. Meaning I had the books part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, those intricate details, that those things never made it to the movies and the games. Hogwarts is the shit. Well, that's what I've been hearing from people, right? People been saying like, yeah, that's the game to play. I'm like, all right, well, let me see what's up with that, right? So I appreciate that, Dank Wizard, because I'm like, let me satisfy my soul, right? Let me see what's going on. Maybe it soothed me. Maybe it soothed my soul. That's what Far Cry did for me. Just the whole story of Far Cry 6. And again, if you're not a gamer, then you like, oh, what the fuck are you talking about? Basically, it's about guerrilla warfare. I'm not gonna say anything more, anything less. I'm not gonna spoil it for some people who may want to know what that is. You can check it out for yourself. But if you know anything about guerrilla warfare, like that just makes me chill inside. But again, that's just because of who I am. What do I mean by that? Meaning there's a lot of Spanish in Far Cry 6 because it's based in Spanish culture, right? Caribbean culture, right? Because Spanish is different than Caribbean, right? So I want to confuse the two, right? So they're engaging in guerrilla warfare. There's the powers that be, aka the government. Then you have the resistance, who calls themselves the guerrillas, all right? So there's a lot of Spanish. And because I have Latin origins, meaning my name is Latin, right? My birth name is Latin. I have a Latin name. So it's like, and then the Latin culture embraced me, right? So, I'm very fond of those. So, like, the Far Cry 6 just touched me in a way that Far Cry 5 couldn't, or Far Cry 4 couldn't. Because I'm like, oh, this speaks to my soul in a way that other stuff doesn't. So, meaning I could identify with that. I'm like, oh, this is what it is, right? But we're not gonna get too far into that. That was just a little side note, right? For the gamers out there, I'm just telling you, like, this is just what I've been on, all right? So just keeping my mind off of the bullshit. I may game. I may even fuck around and play Skyrim, right? Which like been out for 10 years now. I still be playing Skyrim. I just started a whole new profile. I'm even playing Court of the Lamb. Most people don't even know what the fuck that is. Court of the Lamb. Moving on, all right? So we ain't gonna talk too much about games, but this is all within the realm of technomancy. So let's get back to the point here. Why do I say technomancy and cyber magic are the last forms of magic? So, like I was saying earlier in the video, we spent half of the 20th century just to get to where we are now in the 21st century, which is where we started to unlock the secrets of quantum mechanics, right? To the point where now we have what is called quantum computing. We have CERN machines, right? Colliders and shit, opening up portals. There's all type of shit going on. We're moving through dimensions and we're not even aware of what's going on. There's all type of shit going on because of technomancy, which we just call it science. See, this is what I mean. What we call science is really magic. What we call math or mathematics is really magic. What do I mean? Because the highest levels of mathematics and science is magic. The highest levels, not the lowest levels, not 1 plus 1 equal 2. The highest levels. And even when I say magic, I'm not even talking about nothing spooky. I'm like, this is just how life works. Life is magical. It's not because we're magical. But let me explain that a little deeper, because that may not be clear enough. There's a reason why they separated science and art, astrology, astronomy. The reason why they've been separating the sciences that was originally put together and taught as one, the reason why it keeps getting separated is because they don't want you to see the connection. Otherwise, it would have still been the same. Meaning, originally, we would learn everything at the same time. You would be learning biology. You would be learning chemistry. And eventually, you will learn the supreme world art of alchemy. That would be, you could say, the highest level. The highest level would be alchemy, which we could consider magical. What's up, DJ? Go say welcome back. No, I've been here the whole time though. See, that's the crazy part. The crazy part is I just was making videos. But if you are a member, you see I post like every day. I just don't make videos. See, that's the thing, right? Meaning, if you're a part of my Telegram, you know that I post every day. Never missed a day. And I've been doing this since August. I've been doing this since August of last year. Every day, I pull a tarot card and I put it on my Telegram. Link is always in the description, right? But just because I'm not making YouTube videos don't mean I'm not active. As you see, my mind stays working because I stay active. It's just not on YouTube, right? I'm expanding. So if you follow me on Telegram, right, the prismatic hegemony, I post every morning. I draw a tarot card and I describe it. Every morning. I've been doing this since August of last year. Never missed a day. And the times that I actually did miss a day, I still made the post. So even if I missed a day, I still pulled the card, still did it, so you can still go back and reflect on it, right? So yeah, they be on point. But why are they on point? Why are they on point? That's the thing. Fuck if it's on point. Why? Because anybody can pick up a goddamn tarot deck and pull a card, right? That's not the special part, right? Anybody can pull a goddamn tarot card, right? But that don't mean that their readings are going to be on point. There's a reason why it's on point. And that's what I mean by being in tune or plugged in, right? That's why I said late night plug in. I want to hear your thoughts on Telegram. Just follow me. It's easy, right? The link is always in the description. That's all you got to do. All y'all got to do, if you ever want to see what's going on with me outside of YouTube, everything is in the description. I always make sure of that, right? So that's why I'm like, anybody who want to fuck with me, like, my email is always in the description. You can always contact me through email. I'm all over social media. I just don't be active like that, right? I don't be posting because again, I wanted to go back and reamp my whole style. I didn't even plan on going live anymore, honestly. This was not planned. I didn't plan on going live no more. I'm like, let me show forth a whole nother wave, which I will be doing. But again, I'm trying to. It's a lot of things I want to say right now. So let me stay on point. So the reason I'm saying, once again, because again, I know I'm all over the place with it. Technomancy, cyber magic, last forms of magic. We done spent the half of the 20th century to get to where we are now. To get to a place where science and magic are one. They are one, but you're not going to know it if you're paying attention to the mainstream. That's what I'm saying. Meaning the scientists are not going to tell you that. And then the so-called occultists are not going to tell you that either. See, this is what I mean. Like, so I don't want to make this about scientists. I don't want to make this about religion. I don't want to make this about spirituality because everybody's at fault. I'm not about to come on here like, oh, well, spiritual people or are right or conscious people. Like, no, they're not. No. Because there's just certain shit that you can't get from them that you got to go to the scientists to get. And it shouldn't be that way, but it is that way. And it's just going to continue to be that way because we are the scientists. Oh, I got to go over here to get it. I got to go over here to get that. I got to go over here to that. We do it to ourselves, right? So we put ourselves in a box. Like, because I'm spiritual, meaning I got to talk about spiritual shit. No, the fuck I don't. Like, honestly, I'm more concerned with cryptocurrency than spirituality at this point. Like, if you just want to be honest, meaning that takes up more of my time than spirituality. Because at the end of the day, like, that's just who I am. That ain't something that really takes energy. It don't take energy for me to be spiritual. I'm already am spiritual. What it takes energy to be is crypto or cryptic in the way I move to remain anonymous. That takes work. That takes energy to be off of the grid. To be able to move with cryptocurrency. To not even have to touch a physical dollar. That takes work. That takes effort. That's really where the energy for me is going. Cause like this spiritual stuff is like it doesn't again, it's just who I am, right? It's not really something that I even had to think about. This is just what it is already, right? This is not what challenges me at this point. I'm not trying to figure out the secrets in the universe at this point, right? It's all this shit is already known. How much fucking information do we need? I'm not the first teacher, I'm not the last. That's why I don't even care about teaching at this point, honestly. What the fuck haven't I said already? Let's just be real, right? If anything, I should be showing you how to make the goddamn money. I'm just being real at this point. If anything, I should be showing you how to get the bread up, how to get the bag up, in a way that's unusual. Not telling you to work more fucking hours for the narcissist, right? This is how you make your own way. I should be talking more about that because I feel like that's more useful than me talking about some goddamn star. Not that the stars are not useful, but again, it's like if you're not trained, and that's what I mean. If you're not trained to comprehend that, then I'm just speaking to the choir. Meaning I can speak astrologically all I want, but unless you understand the lingo, it's not going to do anything for you. I have to understand that. Meaning, the way I get the answers don't mean that's how the next person is going to get the answers. Just because I know about all this astrology stuff, numerology, tarot, Kabbalah, so what the fuck what? Right? That's just the way I learned it. Somebody else is going to learn it differently. So I don't need to go extra hard because I understand things in a certain way. Somebody else is going to learn it in a different way. And it's all good. The common denominator is we all need the bag, though. I don't give a fuck what you claim, whether you with God, whether you with the devil, again, but that's just me. I know everybody isn't like that. Everybody wants to be safe and comfortable and shit. It's not me. I don't give a fuck what you call yourself. I don't care what you claim. Like, all that shit is irrelevant. The only thing I'm concerned about is you know how to get that bag outside of the system. Honestly, to me, I feel like that's a bigger mission to be accomplished, and this is how you talk to spirits. It's like, all right, everybody ain't meant to talk to spirits, so everybody can't handle that spirit talk. That's why some people go fucking insane. They don't know how to fucking to filter this shit. Not everybody's qualified to be that. Not everybody's qualified to be a medium. Not everybody's qualified to communicate with the dead. Not everybody's qualified to do that. Especially with the way what I'm talking. Like, I'm talking the darkest shit ever, right? I'm talking Citra Aqua. I'm talking straight Kabbalah and clip off. I'm taking you darker than anybody can take you. Like, this is the deeper to the deep. But it's like, so fucking what? At the same time, it's like, so what? I'd rather teach you how to get the bag. Fuck these spirits. Honestly, fuck this magical shit. How do you get the goddamn bag, pay your goddamn mortgage? Outside of the fucking system. Outside of being a goddamn slave. I feel like that's more relevant. But somehow we feel like that's not relevant. I don't understand that. But that's what I mean by meaning you have to be a technomancer to even understand crypto. That's how all this ties in. There would be no crypto currency, crypto science without technology. That's why technology has to be your foundation. You can't even get into crypto if you don't understand what you're doing. How would you even know what to invest in if you don't even understand technology? So you have to have a basic understanding of technology to even get into the crypto space. Then you say, I'm still on the fence about crypto. See, you're more so talking about investing in crypto, right? We're talking about the entirety of why cryptocurrency exists. Meaning Bitcoin would never be at $0. So Bitcoin can go up between 60,000 and 20,000. Bitcoin is going to always be going up and down, but it's never going to hit zero. So cryptocurrency is here to stay. Cryptocurrency ain't going nowhere. It's just a matter of, do you understand how it works? Most people don't. Most people just trying to get rich quick, and that's why they're getting fucked up. That's it. Most people don't know how cryptocurrency works. They're like, oh, this is a good investment. They're treating cryptocurrency like an investment. They're not really trying to live like the crypt keeper. They're not trying to take on that life. They're not trying to move around here without an ID type. That's not what people are trying to do. And I understand. That's why, like, the more and more I realize, like, my lifestyle is not for the masses. It's not for the mainstream. It's just not. I'm like, okay, that's the way I think is not how people are thinking. They don't want to think like this. Who the fuck wants to fucking be in a goddamn inferno, talking to goddamn Satan, being the crypt keeper? That's not like, okay, that's what I want to be. People ain't waking up trying to be on that shit. Meaning, I'm not even here, but I just had a desire to be that way. Motherfucker just ran up on me. That's just the honest truth. Meaning, I'm not just this. I just want to deal with fucking demons and all that shit, and I'm just this dark, sinister person just because I don't have nothing else to do. No, fucking demons was running up on my ass, announcing their names to me, and like, what the fuck is going on here? That's just how it happened for me. So in the midst of me trying to understand why demons is running up on me, I eventually started to learn what's going on here. Like, oh, this shit is actually possible. Meaning, before that occurred, I had no concerns with spirituality. I only cared about spirituality when spiritual phenomena began to occur to me, which did not happen because I was casting some type of spell, because I didn't know nothing about spells. That's how I knew, like, okay, this is something deeper, because I didn't initiate this. It would be different. Okay, I clearly did a spell and then I got a result. That's not how it happened. Like, I don't know nothing about spells. I don't know nothing about spirituality, but they're announcing their names to me. And I'm like, yo, I didn't even consider myself spiritual at all. I'm like, I'm not doing anything spiritual. But somehow they running up on me and I can hear them. How can I hear whispers of something that's not here? So that's why I'm here. But I understand that's not everybody's path. Some people make a decision to be here. That's not necessarily how it happened with me. I didn't make the decision. This is what it is, right? Same here as I consider being chosen. Some people interpret it like that. Some people interpret it like, okay, you were chosen, I'm chosen, you're chosen. But for me, it's about how you deal with it. Because obviously, like I said earlier, some people hear voices and they can't comprehend what they're saying, and it drives them to a state of mania. So everybody does not benefit because they hear spirits, because some people can't control it. So it's not necessarily good for everybody. It's good if you know how to control it. It's good if you actually have an interest in it. Because if I didn't have an interest in it, then I would have just prayed to God like everybody else did. Like, oh shit, why is demons running up on me? I need to pray. That would have been my reaction. I would have prayed, probably would have stopped happening, and I just would have went on with my life. But because that was not my reaction, I'm like, okay, what the fuck is going on here? Because again, I come from a Islamic background, right? Meaning Islam has been in my life the entire time. Not the religion of Islam, the way of life, right? Meaning I've been introduced to all forms of Islam, just being born in Detroit, which is a home of Islam. So I didn't see all fractions, all forms of Islam. It's been in my life the entire time. So then when I look at that, I'm like, is it really a coincidence that I was ran up on by the jinn when I've been in this my whole life? So it's different ways to interpret it. That's why I'm like, it's open ended for me. I'm not about to say like, oh, I'm chosen. I can feel that way, but when I really look at it, I'm like, it ain't too many people that's trying to live like this at all. It just is what it is, right? I realize like, I'm the only one around this bitch, right? Who else do you know can move around without an ID? That's straight cryptomatic with it. That's not the average person, and the average person has no desire to live like that. So I'm like, that was never really. It was never for the masses. Again, I had to come to this conclusion. Meaning my message was never for the masses. It was just for those, whoever the fuck it was for. That was it. Right? My message is not mainstream, but again, I'm not mainstream either. So why would my message be mainstream when it's a whole bunch of non-mainstream shit happening? Right? So I feel like you're only chosen if you choose to be chosen. Just to answer that quickly, you're chosen when you decide to take on that responsibility and take it to the max. Meaning you decide to do with it what nobody else wanted to do with it. While everybody else threw it away, you decided to make something out of nothing. That's what makes a person chosen, in my opinion. It's not that you had access to something somebody else didn't have access. You just found a value in it that the next person didn't find a value in. Right? While the world hates demons and jinn, I didn't have no feeling towards them. Why? Because I didn't grow up religious. So if anything, I'm like, I should thank my mother. But like, I should thank the divine feminine for that. My mother pushed religion on me, right? But I know that's not everybody's story. Some people grew up in a religious household where it's either that or nothing. But my mother didn't put me in that situation. So I'm like, you allowed me to just be, like wherever my mind went is where my mind went. Right? So that's why when a jinn ran up on me, I was open enough to accept it and wanted to know more about it instead of having the reaction that a normal Muslim would have. A normal Muslim is not dealing with a jinn, it's forbidden. We're not even going to talk about that. That's forbidden. We don't want nothing to do with that. That's how the average Muslim would have responded. But because I wasn't that, my response was different. And that's what allowed me to know the things that I know because I'm actually in the spirit world, not because I just want it to be. It just is what it is, right? Meaning it's not even a big deal to me at this point. Again, I'm more so into the crypt keeping now, right? What's a big deal to me now is being the crypt keeper. That's a form of technomancy. I'm just doing my best to make this as clear as possible. Let me change the song. Meaning, if you truly want to master the crypto science, the science of crypto, you have to be a technomancer because there is no cryptocurrency without technology. So you have to be efficient and proficient in technology to even consider being a crypt keeper. And again, when I say that, I'm not just talking about a person who's just investing in Bitcoin trying to make a quick money flip. I'm talking about living the life that was intended when cryptocurrency was created. How do I know that? Because I was around. Meaning, I was up on cryptocurrency before the world was. Meaning, I can go back 10 years ago. I knew about Bitcoin 10 years ago. In 2013, when the world was just like, we don't know what the fuck is going on. I was up on it back then. So that's why for me now, I'm like, I get the original reason that has got lost in translation. That's the point that I'm making. Cryptocurrency now has been lost in translation. All you just see is a bunch of people losing money. But that was never the original intent. I know the original intent because I remember the stories that I was reading 10 years ago about cryptocurrency, about the visions that people had back then, the originators, how they thought, which is completely different than what's going on now. So I remember the beginnings and the origins, and basically the whole purpose of cryptocurrency was to give people like you and me a shot at real life. That's all cryptocurrency was supposed to do. Because you have to go through all these regulations to have access to true capital. Right? That's all it is. Cryptocurrency is what will allow us to operate on the world stage and not have to go through the fucking government. So, for example, like as much as people love Elon Musk still is dependent on government contracts. if you remove those government contracts, Elon Musk is no longer Elon Musk. So people look at him, oh, he's just this brilliant, bright person. Well, he can only exercise his ability because the government allows that. Because if he was operating outside of those government contracts, he would not be as influential as he is. So he is allowed to be as influential as he is because he's working with the government. He's taking funds from the government. Everything he's doing will help the government. Yes, it will help you and me, but it also helps the government. So that's just how it works. In cryptocurrency, the foundation, the meaning has been lost in translation because a bunch of whales came in and manipulated. So now that you think it's just another investment, all they did was fool us, or try. They didn't fool me. Hopefully they didn't fool you. That's why I'm here to remind you of what we forgot. But how could I remind you if I wasn't aware? I only know because I was there. If I wasn't there, I wouldn't know either. Just like I keep saying, I've been around. I didn't see the whole YouTube evolution. I can only speak because I saw it. I'm not speaking because I was looking at what somebody else was doing. I have been creating on YouTube as long as you have been able to create on YouTube, right? So my perspective is, it ain't too many people that's still around. I'm not the only one, but it ain't that many people around who've been creating since the mid 2000s. I've been creating since the mid 2000s. It ain't too many people that's been doing that, right? And I'm not saying that I'm special. I just have been able to see the evolution. So I'm seeing things and how things change, and I see how certain things fell off and other things went a whole different direction. So that's why I can put the pieces back to where they originally was. I can assemble the Millennium Puzzle because I was around when it was created. So of course I'm going to give you the perspective just in case you decide that you want to reassemble the Millennium Puzzle. And I'm just using that as a reference, right? Meaning the Millennium Puzzle used to be a pendant. Before it was the Millennium Puzzle, it was a Millennium Pendant. It was all one. Then it got shattered. So the same way I'm saying the world began to separate the sciences and the arts when it should be one, that's why it's a Millennium Puzzle. Meaning we got to go all over this world to get the full science. Which is everything I did, right? Did I not take y'all all the way to the east? Did I not hit y'all with the eastern science? And then did I not come back around and hit you with the western science? See, most people got lost in the east. Let's just be real about it, right? Most people went to the east, never came back, right? They went to the east, they got Kundalini out, right? All that you can hear about is fucking Kundalini, chakras, meditating, yoga. They went to the east, they never made their way back, right? So I'm just looking around like, okay, so we just supposed to ignore the Western occultism as if it's not there? Well, of course we're going to ignore it because when you start to study the West, now you got to study people like Aleister Crowley. Now you got to get into the mysteries of 93. Then everything I say begin to make sense. Like, oh, that's why he did it. Meaning, it's being holistic. I can't take you all the way to the east and just leave you over there like most people did. And then people wonder why they so fucking confused because they took your ass to the east and they just left you there. Like that was just the end all be all. Like, oh, we're enlightened now. Like what? But you must root yourself in the Western occultism. You have to. Meaning, go as far as you want to the east, but you got to make your way back home. Like these are your lands, right? So, but everybody don't claim their land. So let me not even go in that direction. 93 Cam, what's good? What's good with you? Let me not even go in that direction. All I'm saying is there's a method to the madness. So even though it appears that I'm just being extra dark, that's just me introducing you or just reminding you that it is absolutely necessary for you to be Eastern minded, but Western, have a Eastern mind, but have a Western foundation. which is what the average person is not doing. Right? They thought you can only be enlightened or reach, what is this, apotheosis? Yeah, I'm saying that wrong as hell one time. I remember the early days, Ego, Library Reserve, both shut down by the governments. They were under the jurisdiction of. And that's the thing about cryptocurrency, because it's not under the jurisdiction of one government. That's what makes it phenomenal. So even if cryptocurrency, let's just say America banned cryptocurrency, which America is not going to ban it, but let's just say they do. If you know what you're doing, you can still access cryptocurrency. Meaning that's not going to stop you from still exercising your right to currency. So even if it's banned, you can still use your cryptocurrency and still make shit happen. Fuck them ban, like it doesn't stop anything, because it's still going to be servers up in different countries making sure that the shit still move, making sure that the blockchain still continues on. Nothing else has that guarantee. So you can say that's the guarantee of cryptocurrency. You can guarantee that it's not going to shut down, that it's not going to ever be worth nothing. It's just about how you choose to navigate it. But in order to navigate it, you must understand what you're dealing with. See, most people don't even understand what they're dealing with. Right? But how could they understand when we're fed bullshit? Ain't nobody just telling you what it is except me, right? But that's always been the case, though, right? I've been telling y'all the game the entire time. It's just about whether you take heed to it or not. That's all. That's all. But it's going to become more and more obvious as time goes on, right? Have I not always gave you the forewarning before shit got crazy? I've always gave a forewarning. How do I give the forewarning? Because the spirit runs up on me and just fucking makes me appear like this. Again, I didn't wake up this morning like, oh, I need to make a fucking video. Wasn't thinking about no goddamn video. But what happened? Fucking spirit runs up on me like, okay, it's time to let the motherfuckers know. All right. And I comply. Because I have to be masculine and feminine. So I could be straight masculine. I'm only gonna do what the fuck I wanna do. I could take that approach. I can allow my pride to lead me, but I chose not to. I'm like, alright. Let me say what needs to be said and let me perform my duty and not complain about it, right? Let me do what I'm supposed to do. And that's why I'm here. I'm here because I got ran up on, and that's just how it always happens, right? So I don't get to rest like the average person rests. I have to continue to be the all-seeing eye. I mean, you see, I have to know everything that's going on. You see, I just took you around the whole world very quickly. I have to see all these things. I have to know what's going on in every sector. I have to know what's going on in politics. Again, I have to know what's going on in cryptocurrency. I have to know what's going on locally. I have to know what's going on internationally. I have to know all these things, right? And not just know it, I have to stay on top of it. Meaning every time there's a shift in energy, I have to be able to be aware of it. What allows me to do it is I'm not just looking at the news, I'm also, again, looking at the astrology. That's why, yeah, every day, if you are a member, you already know that to be true. Every time the moon changes a sign, I write a write-up about it. So when the moon goes into Capricorn, I'm writing about it. When it goes into Aquarius, I'm writing about it. When it goes into Pisces, I'm writing about it. And if you are a member, you know I've been doing it for months now, at least for the last 4 months. For the last 4 months, and I have not missed one transition, so I'm just letting people know that it ain't like, okay, I do it some days and some days I don't know. Every time the moon changes, you're going to get a write-up. It get like every day, I'm pulling tarot card, right? So like I'm on this every day just to keep my mind sharp. So that's why you see I ain't made a video in 30 days, but you see I come with the same energy because I never stopped manifesting the energy. I just wasn't hitting the record button. But you see I'm still on the same time, right? And if anything, I'm like, let me take you to crypto, the knowledge of crypto. That's the highest level of technomancy. That's the highest level of cyber magic, which is to empower yourself financially. Fuck casting a spell. Fuck all this extra shit. Empower yourself financially. That's it. Fuck everything else. What the fuck else matter more than that? I don't know. I can't think of something that matters more than I know. I'm like, again, fuck this spiritual shit. Either roll with God or roll with the devil. This shit. Make your choice. Like, either way, get it. Either way, get that crypto back. Either fucking way. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. It just matters if to the people who have a, what is it, poverty consciousness. That's who the fucking matters to. They're concerned with whether you're over here or over there or what side you on, what set you on. It's like, fuck all that shit. Let the tribal people be tribal. Then let the technomancers be technomancers. And let the crypt keepers be the crypt keepers. Everybody plays a position. We have to play our position, right? Anyway, let me change the song. Give me a second here. Let's see what we got. So that's why I have to come with this energy, right? I come with this energy. I'm like, yo, don't take my word for it. See it for yourself, then you will feel the same way I feel. If you see what I see and know what I know, you will feel the same way. Alright. But that's what I mean. Like, I understand that my life is different. I had to accept it. I had to accept that I wasn't a kid thinking about what the fuck I wanted to be when I grew up. I'm just being 100% honest here, right? I'm gonna do whatever. With some people are just so fucking afraid to just reveal this shit, right? I'm not. I was not the kid growing. I want to be this. I want to be that. That was not me. I was straight devil mode from the beginning. What's up? What's up, Ashe? I've been on devil time the entire time. Not to say that I was a big fucking troublemaker. See, that's not, again, that's, so let's not get it confused. That doesn't mean that I was just causing havoc and trouble. No. That just means I've been in the presence of Satan the whole time. What do I mean? That means I was favored. If anything, if I would say I was chosen, if I even want to use that language, if anybody chose me, it was the devil. That's it. I wasn't chosen by God. I was chosen by the devil. But again, I told you that already, right? That should not be news to you. So if I feel special was in that direction, and you can say, that doesn't seem special to me, right? I didn't think it was special either till I realized, like, oh shit, that's just, this doesn't happen to everybody. Most people roll with God and respect to him, right? Salute to him. It's not a us versus them thing. Like you said, you don't see me beefing with nobody. You don't see me going back and forth with nobody. God, I don't care what they're about, right? You're not gonna see me going back and forth with nobody. Let's see, give me 1 second here. But I'm just being completely honest, because it's like at this point, why not? You know what I mean? I'm just being honest about it, right? YouTube doesn't pay my fucking bills. The fuck, like, why should I put on a persona like everybody else? If YouTube is paying your bills, then fuck it, honestly. I ain't telling nobody not to pay their mortgage. If you got it, if you're in a position where your bills are getting paid, then pay your goddamn bills. Again, I'm not here to judge nobody. It doesn't matter. All right? How you pay your goddamn bills is your business. Whether you getting it out the mud, whether you getting it out the dirt, whether you laboring for it, that is completely your business. And I salute to you for having any type of responsibility. Honestly. That's how I feel about it. Salute to you for being a responsible human being. For being a civilized human being, for getting your ass up every day and punching that clock even when you don't want to. To me, that's respectable. I respect that. When you do what you have to do, even if you don't want to do it. You're not motivated by your emotions. You just do what you know that needs to be done. And again, I have nothing but respect for that, right? That's like, I just respect that more so than, again, caring about what people claim or what type of Christian a person is. It's like, all right. What are the crypt keepers? What are the crypt keepers specialized in? What it means to be a crypt keeper. I'm talking about the energy of Pluto, right? Cause yeah, I know my lingo is advanced. right? I know I like what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about, right? It's the energy of Pluto, the number zero. What is the duty of a crypt keeper? To preserve the true meaning of cryptocurrency. That's it. Meaning, when you are the keeper of anything, the keeper of a temple, the keeper of a science, that means you are preserving it. You are the preserver. So when you are the crypt keeper, that means you are the preserver of the crypt. The crypt in this case is the science of cryptocurrency. You are preserving the original science, which is to empower every individual financially. That's the duty of the crypt keeper, to show and prove, not just talk about it, to show and prove the validity of crypto. Because see, so a lot of people are still on the fence about it, right? A lot of people still don't understand it. A lot of people still are, skeptical about these things, right? It's your responsibility to destroy that skepticism with reality, to replace falsehood with reality. That's the job of Pluto. Pluto changes anything it comes into contact with. It's that simple. That's what Pluto does. Anything Pluto comes into contact with, it will alter, it will change. That is your duty. So when people come into contact with you, you change their perspective because you are the energy of Pluto. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You are empowering people in ways that they won't be empowered otherwise. Meaning, if you don't tell them, they're just not going to know. The world ain't going to tell you, right? The world is going to teach these harsh truths, but the world's not going to teach you how to get it from the crypt. They're not going to show you how to get it from the crypt. They're not going to put you on that necromancy. See, yes, this ties into necromancy. This ties into magic. You can't separate it. You can't separate it. Who do you think has the secrets of the crypt? The dead. The dead take secret. Anyway, I think we're going too far in that one, right? So I'm like, all right, let me get your mind wrapped around crypto before I even go into necromancy, all right? Like people are just gonna jump on that, like, well, okay, let me communicate with the dead. Like, let's not kid ourselves, right? Let's not kid ourselves. People ain't trying to jump out the window trying to figure out what's going on with the dead, all right? So we ain't gotta go that far. I'm just giving you an idea though of what it means to be in the crypt, what it means to be in the underworld, what it means to navigate without government assistance. That's what it means to operate in the underworld, which most people don't know how to do. That's the whole thing of why the crypt keeper exists, because that people don't know how to do. Like, damn, how the fuck do you do that? That's supposed to be the reaction, because they know that they couldn't do it. Because all we know is government. All we know is job, ID, fiat notes, which is money. We don't know about currency. We know about money and local money. All we know about is local money. We don't know about currency. And again, unless you're going to college and getting in debt, you're not going to know this stuff, right? I don't even know if you can go to college and learn about cryptocurrency. That may be a thing, as time goes on, but I don't even think it's a thing now. There is no space to go to where that guarantees you that you understand how this crypto space works. If anything, they're just trying to guarantee that you're gonna get a money return. That's just what it's been reduced to. People have reduced it, and which is what the public does, which is why certain information is not for the public, because we see what the public does to the information. They mix, dilute, and tamper with it, and make it other than the original manifestation, other than itself. Right? That's what the public does. That's why I say my information, who I am, is not for public consumption. Because the public's going to look at me and not know what the fuck they're looking at. They don't know what the fuck is going on. It's not for the public. Meaning that's why I never geared my content for public consumption. Hence, that's why I don't do videos for clicks and views. So I'd rather only get 100 views than get 1,000 views of bullshit. It's just that simple. So if speaking reality gets me 100 views and speaking falsehood gets me 1,000, I'm gonna speak truth. It just is what it is. Why YouTube don't pay me? I can say whatever the fuck I want. That's the difference between me and everybody else. They can't talk like this because they want that paycheck. Because YouTube doesn't pay me. The people paid me. All right, so let me make sure people understand. All right, I get paid by the people, not YouTube. I don't get a check from YouTube at all. What I get is from the people when I perform a service. I get paid for a service like everybody else. Right? When you need your plumbing fixed, you pay a plumber. When you need your electricity fixed, you pay the electrician. Same thing with me, right? I perform a service, which has nothing to do with YouTube, right? And that's why I'm free to do what I do, right? I'm not bound by the restrictions that other people are bound by. That's why I can go 30 days and not make no content. A content creator can't do that. So I don't even consider myself a content creator. I'm not even a fucking content creator. No. Because content creators don't take 30-day breaks, right? Let's just be honest. That's not what a content creator does. A content creator is trying to make content as much and as frequently as they can because, again, more content equals more dollars. So, of course, they want to make as much content as they can because, again, that's just more dollars to be made. And honestly, anyway, do I dare say that that's just a form of poverty consciousness? It is, but you ain't hear it from me. So why step away just to guarantee that I'm not even in that consciousness? I'm like, okay, I shouldn't even be feeling like I need to make a fucking video because I honestly don't. As if, like, for what? Right? I'll speak when there's something to be said. I'm not just about to come on here just because I don't have nothing else to do. Been there, done that, right? I got years already invested doing that. There's no need for me to continue to do that, right? I'm just on here just to be on here type shit. No, if you see me, there's something that needs to be said. And if you don't see me, then it ain't nothing that needs to be said. But I'm always saying something, so it all depends on what form you get it. Meaning people don't realize how hard it is to do this. But how would they know if they don't live it? But that's why I have to demonstrate it. Meaning it's not easy to do these astrological reports every time the moon transitions. Meaning the moon only goes through 12 phases from Aries to Pisces, right? In a 30-day period. There's only so much you can say when the moon then did what it did, right? Meaning it's only so many times that you can say, well, this is what happens when the moon is in Aries. This is what happens when the moon is in Gemini. This is what happens when the moon is in Taurus. There's only so many times you can say that shit, right? Meaning you're just giving the same definitions. It becomes generic, which is what everybody on YouTube does, right? It's like, okay, every time the goddamn moon transitions, they're saying the same thing they said last time. So you got to come up with something new to say every time. Meaning every 30 days, you got to come up with a new way to describe these things, which is not easy to do. Because you got to come from an internal perspective to even do that. Meaning you can't get more definitions about, okay, well, Aries means this, Aries means that. There's only so many definitions you're going to get. Eventually, it has to come from within you. I mean, if you want to manifest a new intelligence, a new reality, it must come from within you. That's why I continue to challenge myself. I'm like, okay, either I'm going to be saying the same thing and do what everybody else is doing. I'm just going to make a video just because the video just needs to be made because I'm trying to get paid. Not that I'm actually helping anybody because I'm saying the same shit I said last time. So it's not useful because I'm like, well, what am I saying now that I didn't say before? So if anything, I'm like, okay, I have to come with new things, new perspectives that can only be discovered if it's coming from an internal source. It's not even external. Again, there's only so many definitions you can get. Aries can only mean so many things. So if you're trying to come with a new perspective on things, it has to come from within you because you live it, not because you know it, because you live it, which is a huge difference. You know how many people know about this stuff, but that don't make them authentic, right? There's people that know about astrology that don't even respect astrology. So we can start there, right? So you got people that know, but that don't mean that they acknowledge it and that they live it out and that they gain the understanding. But we know about supreme mathematics now, don't we? Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. We know how it goes. 1, 2, 3. In order to be wise, you must know. But in order to gain understanding, understanding comes from wisdom. The wisdom is you living it out. Your ways and your actions, that's the wisdom. You actually walking and talking in the light of this consciousness. Then, from living it, from walking it every day, every night, every sunrise, every sunset, then you begin to see things differently than other people, because now you're seeing things happen in real time. Now again, it's not about how many books you read. We're not here to be scholars. Understand that. We're not here to be scholars. We're not here to study and not practice. They done already did that shit. You know how many people that know about all this stuff, but they don't practice it. Meaning, you have scholars who can tell you everything about magic, but haven't cast one spell. But they're scholars at their whatever the fuck they're scholars in. I mean, they can tell you all about it, but that's as far as it goes. So, I mean, all they can do is give lectures and consultations about it. But they can't tell you nothing new because they're not actually living it out. So they can't tell you. They can't go beyond the books, essentially. They can't tell you something original. How can they tell you something original when they don't practice it? That's why the only reason I can tell you original things is because I'm actually practicing what I'm talking about. I'm living it out. When this camera goes off, I'm still doing this. Right? This is not just something I'm just doing because, like, you don't get to this level where, like, oh, you don't pretend. There's no way to pretend this, right? You see, this comes out of me even when I don't want it to. That's the only way to develop an understanding, meaning you see it from the inside out. That's why you understand. You're seeing it from the inside out. So you got an internal view. You are inside the culture, because that's the next culture. Number 4, culture, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, which then develops your culture. You have a culture, and once you know the inner workings of a thing, it becomes your way of life because you understand how it works. A person's culture is based on their understanding of how the world works, which is their knowledge, their wisdom, and their understanding. That combined becomes a person's culture. And from that culture, do they become empowered? Number 5, right? We can only be empowered by our culture. That's the only way that you can gain any type of power in this world. Here's the thing though. There's a lot of us with power, but very few of us with refinement. That's why the number 5 is power / refinement. Just like number 4 is culture / freedom. Because your culture must be rooted in freedom, meaning you must be a free thinker. So that means culture is not religion. That's what separates culture from religion. Religion has dogma. A culture is free, meaning you're able to think for yourself and have original thought. Because your culture is based in freedom. So you can have many different people in the same culture, but they all have a different perspective. And they can agree on the differences instead of falling out over the differences, right? So any power that we have, it must be refined. How do we know this? Just look around. Look at all these people who have power on YouTube, all these subscribers, all these followers, all these resources. But then, like, they're disgusting people though inside, right? And what I mean by that is based on the content. Meaning all they talk about is bullshit. But that's what the people want. They just giving the people what they want, right? Your power must be refined. If your power is not refined, you're going to deal with the same situations that everybody dealt with before us. Meaning, many of us had power, but we lost the power. We fell from grace. Meaning, you see this all so-called conscious community. It's all like this. This is how you know mathematics is right and exact. The reason I'm saying conscious community is all these people supposedly have all this knowledge. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, and these are powerful people, right? But somehow they get caught up in the most ridiculous acts, right? Let's just be honest about it, right? How do these people that know so much get caught in cardinal acts? And then you got caught up doing that. Like, what the fuck is going on? It's called a lack of refinement. You acknowledge your power, you realize that damn, I have the power to make shit happen. I have the power to make people move. I have the power to convince people into thinking the way I think. You acknowledge your power. You know what you're capable of doing, but you choose to operate from a unrefined level. They can't handle the power. It's not that they can't handle it, they just choose not to be refined with it. So it's like they know how to swing the sword, but they don't realize that, okay, well, you're not supposed to kill everybody you come into contact with. Just because you have a sword and you can kill with it, don't mean you actually should. Especially if it's based on a reaction. So that's what happens. There's a lot of people with power, but there's very few with refinement. And that's where we fall. That's why they cannot raise above the 6 into the 7th degree. The 7th degree is the God degree. So they can say how much they're God, like I'm God. They can say all that shit, but they never even rose above the 6. They haven't rose above the 6 because they didn't get past the 5, meaning their power was never refined. Once you acknowledge that you have power, then it's your duty to refine it. Like, okay, I need to be responsible with this. I can really do some damage with this power, so I need to make sure that I use this responsibly. Because that takes you into the 6, which is equality. If I use this power in a refined manner, I'm actually able to equalize, meaning bring balance instead of more chaos. Because that's the only thing that fucking happened. That's why all this shit is in shambles now. All motherfuckers did was come through and cause chaos. Let's just be honest, right? That's why we can't respect a so-called conscious community, or why people come in the name of consciousness and we think they're fucking scammers and shit. We can't even take these people seriously anymore. So much so that I don't even care about the shit no more. Meaning, I don't even care to be in the shadows of what all these other disgusting people are doing. What I mean by that is, if somebody's conscious and they turn out to be a disgusting person, that falls on everybody, right? Everybody is now, especially if this person is big, like, oh, okay, well, now that stigma gets put on everybody. And this is what I mean by not having refinement, meaning you have no idea how your actions bleed out into other people's realities. Because when you have the power, when all the eyes are on you, and then you do cardinal shit, not only does it fuck it up for you, it also fucks it up for anybody who resembles that likeness. So you may have saw somebody, they're speaking conscious, right? They're giving out knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. All right, cool. Now it inspired you to do the same thing. In the future, if they end up being exposed for doing some madness, that affects you too. And you didn't do anything of the sort, but you are still affected by someone else's actions. because they chose to be savage with the power that they discovered. But again, because they don't see this, because how could they see it? They're unrefined. That's the whole point. So instead of bringing balance to the community, all they do is bring even more chaos. All they do is cause even more distrust. And it's as if, like, damn, you shouldn't even to presented yourself in the first place. That's what it ended up being like. Damn, like, what was the point? What was the point of somebody presenting themselves in a certain light and having all this energy to be put to waste? Because now nobody even takes these people seriously anymore. People can't even take you seriously if they wanted to. You had the power, but you had no refinement, so you were not able to bring equality to your life or anyone else's life. Which, if you cannot do that, if you can't get past the 6, then how are you going to get into the 7, which is the energy of God? I'm just showing you how the mathematics is right and exact. That's all I'm doing. I'm just giving you, this is just showing how the math shows the way. And you see it's supreme mathematics. It's not the math that you learn in school. You see the difference? I had to learn this from the streets. I only know this because I saw it. And nobody came to me like, oh, this is what you need to know. That was never my case. Nobody ever told me, oh, maybe you should start studying. That was never the case. Shit just kept happening to me. I was forced to study, like, in order to understand what was going on. So it was never another human being that inspired me to do what I do now. This was not inspired by any human being, because honestly, a human being wouldn't have been able to comprehend what was going on to even inspire me to move in the right direction. So that's why it couldn't come from a human. Because how what would they wouldn't even know what to do with it. Let's just say I come to a human talking about I'm hearing spirits, I'm hearing the name of spirits. What is they going? Their response ain't gonna be maybe you should evoke these energies and see what they want. That would not be their response. You need to pray. You need to take your ass to church. That would be their response. Because they can only give you what they know. All they know is church, so of course they're gonna tell you to go to church. They're gonna tell you to go to God. All they know is God. People can only give you what they have, so it's like it's honestly not even worth even introducing people to your energy, because they can only give you what they have. So if they haven't made their travels around the world, they're not useful to you. They may be useful to someone else. They're not useful to you. Meaning there's some people that don't even know about Eastern occultism or Western occultism. So how can they guide you in the right direction, and they only know what direction you going in? That's why I say my whole lifestyle is not being guided by humans, because the human they wouldn't even know. They're not willing to again go into these infernos. So my whole path has been motivated strictly by spirit. I had to take it upon myself to get the answers. Nobody could have told me. Nobody could have guided me. Nobody could, okay, maybe you need to study this. No. But I'm glad that I have been able to document it at the same time. That's how y'all know this shit is true. So you don't even have to take my word for it. The documentation is there. Y'all seen me going all over the place getting this knowledge. And it wasn't going to just human beings. I'm going to places showing you the occult. I'm going all the way from Los Angeles to New York, showing forth the occult, not showing forth this is what it means to travel. This is what I mean by people truly have no idea what to do with the money that they even have. What do I mean by that? You got people that's fucking, they feel like they're doing something because they go on vacation. Like I'm in Cancun, for example, right? But they don't know about the culture. They don't know about the people. They're just there on a vacation in the nicest part. They don't go amongst the people and integrate. Let's just be honest about this shit, right? That's why you have shit like what do they call this shit? What is it? Passport bros, passport girls, motherfuckers just going on vacations and shit. like they're doing something, but they're not getting any game. They're just spending money, right? So like, it's like this is what I mean by this is what people are doing. People are doing what people do. To me, I'm like I don't operate like there's no way that I'm getting on a plane and I'm going overseas and I'm not gonna learn about the culture. I'm just about to stay in the goddamn hotel room and just like I'm on vacation. I'm like, no, I need to be amongst the people because the people would take me to the spirits. And when I get the favor of the spirits, then I would have the favor of the people. Anyway, but that's not how people think now, is it, right? They don't even understand the connection between the people and spirit. The spirit motivates the people. So if you want the favor of the people, you got to get the favor of the spirits. They don't know that though, right? That's not something that you're gonna find in a book. That's something that you got to get from somebody who lives this shit, right? Nothing I say comes from books. That's the funny thing about this shit, right? I can't tell you the last book I read. I'm like, life is just showing me so much stuff. I'm like, I ain't got time to look at somebody else's perspective. I wonder what they think about it. I don't give a fuck what they think about it, right? There's no need to even be concerned about what somebody else thinks about it. When I'm seeing these things unfold for myself, but again, I've been documenting my whole journey, so that's the difference as well. Meaning, I've been documenting since 2008. We're in 2023. That's just how long I've been writing and documenting everything that I learned. I don't even know how many years that is, but it's longer than a lot of people. Meaning, you got people who consider themselves spiritual. They don't even have no goddamn notes of their own, but they got all these books. So, again, only I see it though, right? I see a lot of people with a lot of books, but when I ask, where are your notes? They fumbling and bubbling, right? They quick to show me a book, but they slow to show me the documentation from themselves, from their own consciousness. What happened when you work with that spirit? What was that like? They can't tell me. They didn't write it down. Like, oh, it was cool. What the fuck you mean it was cool? Like, oh, you have no evidence. You don't even remember what happened, do you? No. Especially if you are a person that does drugs, you're cheating yourself out of your own experience. Or psychedelics, and you're not documenting your experience. You are wasting your fucking time. You're wasting your fucking time. Why else would you use drugs? And you know everything has a cost, everything has a consequence. But you're just like, you if you're gonna use it, you better use it for real, for real. Meaning it's for spiritual journeys that needs to be documented. Because if it's not being documented, then it's like it didn't happen. And if it didn't happen, how do you advance? How do you know when it's time to work with this energy again if you don't even remember what happened the first time you work with the energy? But we're so quick to go to books, though. You see why it's hard for me to comprehend these things. I'm like, okay, I would rather trust my own documentation than a book. So if I want to know, okay, well, what's going to happen when I work with this spirit? I'm not going to go to a book. Well, this spirit has these attributes. Well, how do I know that the spirit has those attributes? Oh, this is the god of war. This is the goddess of judgment. How do I know that? Because I read it somewhere? How do I know that to be true, and what does that mean? The only way I'm going to get an answer to that is if I do it myself. Oh, I see why that's the god of war. This is a warlike energy. And I know that from personal experience. That is the only way for me to get clarity as to where whoever gave that deity the attributes, okay, well, how did they come to those conclusions? That, oh, they had to work with the energy to know what the energy is about. So if they had to work with the energy to know what the energy is about, then I should be able to do the same thing and come to the same conclusions. And if I can't come to these same conclusions, then how would I trust that they even knew what they were talking about? But for whatever reason, again, we're just quick to pull out a goddamn book and somebody else's documentation, but then we have little to no notes of our own. How do we not value our own experience? How is it not important to document your own journey? Especially if you're working with spirits and you're trying to uncover the nature of these spirits. How do we not find it important enough to document that? You could actually advance the understanding of a particular energy through your own documentation. But what do we want to do? We want to hear what the scholar says. That's what we do. We rather listen to the scholar and what the scholar has to say. We ain't listening to the person that's actually working with the energy directly. They don't know what they're talking about, but the scholar who went to college knows what they're talking about, who never worked with the energy a day in their life, who never had a personal experience with this energy, but they just know about it. But for whatever reason, we value the word of a scholar than the word of a practitioner, and that's why the world is full of scholars and people who are just running their mouth with very few practitioners. It's like people don't even want to do any goddamn thing, honestly. Not when it comes to the occult. They don't want to be a practitioner. Like they shun away from that, right? They're too invested in God. I'm just gonna be honest about this shit, man. I'm gonna tell you what everybody else has refused to acknowledge because they're dealing with their own bullshit. They haven't got over their own bullshit. The only reason I speak the way I speak because of my ego. I take the ego out of it. I'm not better than nobody. My opinion is not more valuable than the next person. I just got a bunch of experience. That's all. I just look young. That's all it is. I just look like this. I'm really old as fuck. I'm old as fuck. I don't. I'm old as fuck. I know things that 80-year-olds don't know. You can be 100. I still know certain things that people are just not gonna know. Cause I done took my mind beyond time and space, which is what we all should be doing. Like, this is not your first go around here. You have access to all these lifetimes and you just choose not to access it. We're still thinking about what the fuck somebody else is. You got a whole library of past lives. You have your own Akashic records to be studied. But for whatever reason, we want to know about what the goddamn celebrities are doing, what the entertainers are up to. You got a whole plethora of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that you just simply refuse to tap into. And I'm not saying you as the watcher, just us as a collective. Because obviously you wouldn't even be watching if you had no interest in these things, right? Okay, let me see. So that's what it is, though. So I'm gonna continue to just be a pain in your fucking ass. That's what the fuck I do. I'm here to be your own personal narcissist, your own personal asshole. That's what I'm here to be. Everybody else is afraid. Oh, I don't want to be that. I'm not that. I am that. I'm gonna make sure you pay your goddamn bills. Right? I'm gonna make sure that you good. That's what I'm gonna do. Let everybody else focus on the bullshit. I don't give a fuck about none of it. You're not gonna ever see me nowhere where spiritual people are or conscious people are. You're not gonna see. You ain't gonna find me at these places. Nowhere near the vicinity. I don't care to be around spiritual people. I don't care to be around conscious people. I don't care to be. I don't care to be amongst none of that shit. Honestly, like it doesn't do anything for me. Like it's like I outgrew it. I outgrew it. It don't move me like it used to move me. I'm like, well, why should it though? It shouldn't. It shouldn't, honestly. Because you realize that people just use this as a cover to not deal with themselves. In other words, that's why people hop in and out of relationships, partner to partner, culture to culture, lifestyle to lifestyle. Motherfuckers don't know what the fuck they want. You see, I've been the same way the entire fucking time. Why? Why have I been the same with that the whole damn time? Right? Or you can say, I always bring it back home. I may journey very far, but I always bring it back to 93, don't I? I always bring it back to 93, no matter how far I travel, right? I always bring you back to the West. The sun will rise in the West. I thought we knew that. I thought we knew this. The sun will rise in the West. I thought we knew that. I thought we knew that. Why do you think people ran to the East? See? I know that's going to go over most people's heads. But anyway, alright. If the sun will rise in the West, which was predicted by the ancestors, I ain't just make that shit up. That was already predicted by those who came before us. The sun will rise in the West. So do you think it's a coincidence that everybody took their ass to the East? You think it's a fucking coincidence? When the most valuable company is here in the West, called Apple, right? Apple is the most valuable company on the planet. In the West. But we're over there in the East. Like they really doing something. What the fuck are they doing? It's just that we just don't want to deal with ourselves. That's what it is. That's why we went over to the East, feeling like we're going to discover something new. No, when you discover the same person you was, right? You just don't call it God no more. You just call it Shiva. You just call it Kali. You're just into your Hinduism now. That's all it is. But it's the same mentality. That's why don't be fooled just because a person isn't in church anymore, that just because they may be into the Eastern science. You see how easy it is to transition from religion to the Eastern science? You don't think it's a coincidence? From the church, yoga, you don't think it's a coincidence? That it was set up to be that way? People really think they're doing something? We don't know that Hinduism has been in the West since the 19th century? That means since the 1800s. But people think they're doing something new when Hinduism has been in America. I'm not even talking about over there. Hinduism has been in America since the 19th century. In California, Hinduism, or the Eastern sciences, first hit California. That's why Cali. California is always referred to as Kali, right? The goddess Kali. That's not a coincidence because that's where Hinduism landed in the West. So that's not even a coincidence, right? Now, of course, it's also a reference to the Queen Khalifa and all that history as well. With the women, So I don't want to disrespect that history either. But all these things are interconnected. Obviously, that's the energy of a goddess, right? So whether you want to call her Queen Khalifa or Kali, that's obviously feminine energy, right? But why do we not know that? We just choose to overlook the obvious because we think we know something, right? We think we got the answers. But why do I stay saying shit that people are not even thinking about? But we got the answers, right? That's what I'm saying. But motherfuckers think they're doing something, but Hinduism has already been here. This is nothing new. It was meant for you to absorb the information, but not to become it. I said this before, right? People travel to the east, never made their way back. So that's why when you hear somebody like me speak, that shit is like extreme, and all this is Western occultism. All this is 93, which is what everyone should already be into. Even if you don't want to claim Thelema, you still must study this shit. To consider yourself a Western occultist, you have to go through Thelema. The same way you had to go through Hinduism to consider yourself Eastern. You got to go through Kali, you got to go through Shiva, you got to go through Lakshmi, right? So on and so forth. You got to go through the tantric goddesses. For the more underground people, you got to go through those degrees. Only then are you qualified to engage in sex magic. After you have a comprehension of the tantric sciences over in the East. So that's why I'm not ever going to downplay the East. It's just that you're not supposed to be stationed over there. Bring your ass back home. But again, not too many people will. But at least you know one person that did, other than yourself, if that's what you chose to do. But that's why my energy is not Eastern. My energy is Western. So even if I speak about Eastern things, my energy is still Western because we're in the West. The sun will rise in the West. I need to have a Western perspective. In order for me to comprehend what I need to comprehend, because I am a Westerner, meaning my mind has been shaped and developed from a Western perspective, which is abstract. The Western language is abstract. That's why the English language, that's why it's so easy to manipulate people, because we have such a vast choice of words and wordplay. It's ridiculous. You can't do this with no other language. That's what makes hip-hop so special, is because there's so many words in English. There's just so many ways to put words together. It's like we just don't fucking run out of words. And if we run out of words, we create new ones. That's not happening in other languages. It's just not. Not at the speed it's happening in the English language. That's why everybody wants to learn English. Everybody ain't rushing to learn an older language. They want to know how to speak English. Even if they know how to speak other things, they at least know how to speak English. But I'm just making clear what's already obvious, right? That's why I speak about hip hop. That's why I speak about 93. That's why I speak about Thelema. This is just to remind us that we are in the West, so we have to take on a Western energy. So whether you call yourself 93, whether you call yourself hip hop, Thelema, or Thelemite, occultist, whatever it is, that's why these worlds are interconnected. That's the only reason why I even do music. Just to show how the worlds are interconnected. I don't just do music because I'm trying to be a recording artist. I'm trying to be in the industry. No, I do music because why wouldn't I do music? If I consider myself a Western occultist should be musicians. Why wouldn't you be, right? You should be a magician. A magician as well as a musician. Because you're utilizing your magical currency in a organized fashion. That's what music is. It's harmonized sounds. You gotta harmonize your melodies. Right? That's what we're artists. We're poets. We don't realize this though, right? We still trying to pick up the sword though. Like we not artists. Like we're supposed to be picking up the pen and the brush. That's what a Westerner does. We move the world with the pen, not by the sword. We're not Christians. We're not forcing people to engage with us when they don't want to. And if they say no, we're just going to take their life. We're not doing that. We're picking up the pen. We're picking up the paintbrush. That's what we do. We fight guerrilla warfare. We don't fight sword to sword. We don't fight gun. It's pen to pen. Who got the best lyrics? Is this not the case? Who got the best bars? That's what we want to know. Who is really spitting right now? That's what the fuck I want to know that right now. Who got the fucking bars? That's what I want to know. I don't give a fuck about who got the sword. Who got the bars? Who's spitting insanely right now? Insane bars. That's who I want to know. Who is that? Yeah, I see you, mine too. Shout out to you. That's what I want to know. I want to know where the bar is at. Because that's our form of war. That's how we go to war. Because when I hear those bars, I'm like, God damn. I gotta go in now. It just motivates you to, do what you do. That's what it's supposed to do. I'm gonna hear somebody else bar. I'm like, damn. I know I can't do that. My wordplay don't work like that. So I can admire it and not try to duplicate it, not try to take. I'm like, yo, I can admire the art. I'm like, yo, I can't do that. My style is my style. But I can appreciate the other styles. I can be inspired by the other styles. It inspired me to be a better version of myself. Is that not what we do anyway? But we wanna pretend like that's not the type of time we on. We wanna pretend like we don't enjoy lyrics more than everybody else. I guarantee that your appreciation for lyricism is more than anywhere else in this world. Take your ass to India, for example, and see how much they value wordplay. Take your ass anywhere in the East and see if they respect wordplay as much as we respect wordplay. We put people on a pedestal for having an ill pen. You think they doing it over there? You think they have that same appreciation? They can't because they speak a different language. Their language is not creative enough. I'm not saying that people are not creative enough. They are limited by their own language. So they simply cannot have the same amount of appreciation because their language prevents them from being that creative. The same way we can be creative with the English language. That's what makes English different than any other language because the creative use of English. It's not even the logical use or like the legalese. It's the creative use of the English language that makes it more advanced than any other language. Because it is the newest language. Now, if it's a language that come after English, then that would be the language. But as of now, English is the most advanced language. That's why this word play is ridiculous. The English not showing proof that the pen is mightier than the sword. The other goddamn languages didn't prove that because they were still picking up that sword and killing shit. We see that with the Christian history. We see that with the Islamic history. We see that with the Jewish history. Let's go anywhere in the world. They're still picking up the goddamn swords, right? But we picked up that pen because that's our nature. Our nature is to go towards the pen. It ain't our nature to go towards the swords. That's everyone else's nature. Again, hip hop is a matriarchy. Hip hop is not a patriarchy. That's the whole reason why it exists. Meaning, for you to even think about the pen before the sword, that's the feminine currency. So all that talking about, we got all these, what do they call it, single parent households. The fathers are not around. We got all these excuses, right? But it's because of the feminine. It's because of the matriarchy. That's the reason why we're not picking up swords, and we would want or prefer to pick up the pen. It's because of the matriarchal energy, as we call the divine feminine. It's the feminine, like I was saying earlier. It's because of my own mother. I am creative as I am because my mother allowed me to be. She didn't stop it. Stop doing that. You're not supposed to be doing that. Here, go study the books, do your homework. No, that wasn't my mom. No. All right. If I would even to this day, like even when I converted to Islam, back when I was 15 years old, and I told her, I'm like, yo, I'm not eating pork no more. I'm praying 5 times a day. You know what she did? She respected it. She just stopped cooking that. She's like, oh, you don't want pork no more? All right, fuck it. There was no argument. There was no debate. She just respected. Like, this is an individual. So And she didn't see that as nothing wrong. Now, yeah, if I said that I just joined the goddamn gangs, the local gangs, that may have been an issue. But she never saw that. Like, okay, but that's positive. I don't see you doing any of that. I don't see that as unrighteous. So she just respected it. I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. But what I'm saying is everybody don't get that treatment. So I acknowledge that. Because if you grew up in a religious household, like you come in with a whole different flow, it's not really gonna cut it. Like so everybody didn't have that freedom. Some people had to leave the home in order to achieve their freedom. So I understand that perspective as well, right? But nonetheless, like if you had a hip hop mom, which I did, that's what it was. I heard hip hop because my mother was into hip hop. That's that. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, what the fuck is that? I was hearing Eminem. I'm like, oh, I fell in love with that shit. I feel like I'm like, oh, that dark, sinister shit. Like, oh, love that shit. Especially lit. I'm thinking like I'm an 8-year-old kid listening to Eminem. I'm like, oh, love that shit. My first CD, Eminem. That was my very first album. And my mother paid for half of it. That's just how G she was about it. I'm just giving you facts. My very first album. I'm like, she like, yo, what you want? I'm like, I need that Eminem. I requested it. Now she could have been like, like you ain't listen to that shit. Because my grandmother was like that. My grandmother did not allow hip hop in her home. So I had to contrast. So I know both worlds. Whenever we went to grandma house, no hip hop. The only time I was able to listen to hip hop was from my grandfather. I also saw the contrast in that. My grandfather allowed me to listen to hip hop. My grandmother didn't. They both was in church. They both went to church every Sunday. They would take me to church, so I know how it is to go to church because they took me to church. My mother didn't take me to church. My great-grandparents took me to church. So I know how it is to be in that atmosphere. Then I began to go around the Magick when I converted to Islam, right? Just saying all that to say, I've seen all these worlds, right? So like I already had these mass perspectives. Right, there we go. Perspectives. So I knew the differences. So I acknowledged the freedom, but I also acknowledged like, yo, my grandmother, she don't want to hear it. Nothing hip hop. It wasn't even about whether they cussing or not. It could have been a conscious song. She didn't want to hear it. She didn't want to hear no rap. Conscious, non-conscious, violence, non-violence. She didn't want to hear it at all. That shit come on a radio station. She turned that shit. You know what my grandfather did? And this is just how he was about this shit. I remember a fucking DMX song came on, right? And it was blanking out the cuss words. Then he had asked me, he was like, yo, you know what they saying right there? Basically, they would blank out the cuss, and he like, yo, you know what they saying? I'm like, yeah, I know what they saying. He like, what they saying then? So he made me go through the song and like, yo, what they really saying though? Just to see if I really knew. That's just how G my grandfather was. He like, yo, I don't give a fuck about this. Nigga blasting that goddamn DMX. That's how it was, right? So I saw the contrast. And I bring all that to say that that was just the nature of my grandparents, right? What I mean by that was the nature of my grandparents because I also used to be a thief, right? It is what it is. I'm comfortable with it. I was stealing all type of Yu-Gi-Oh cards out of fucking Target and not Walmart, Toys R Us and all that, going to Toys R Us, stealing packs of goddamn cards. Eventually, I got caught, right? Because I was just super savage with it, right? And just imagine taking a whole fucking rack and just taking that shit in the bathroom, like you don't got employees looking at you, like what the fuck is this dude doing? I was just super savage with this shit. Eventually, I got caught. They had to call my grandparents. My grandmother was heated. I couldn't even look her in the eyes. I'm like, it's just real shit. Like, yeah, I knew I was wrong. So soon as she came up, she pulled up. She like the look she had in her face. I'm like, that shit destroyed me. It destroyed me. I stopped after that. I'm like, damn. Like, this is how. I'm like, this how. Like, I don't want my grandparents to feel like this. Like that's what hurt me more than what I actually did. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about these cars. This is insured. The people who work here don't care about this shit. But what I do care about is how my grandmother feels because she know that I'm better than that. So I'm like, all right, let me cut that shit out. But then my grandfather was cool about it though, right? He just had a conversation with me. So, yeah, my grandmother was livid, yelling at me. She wanted to pull out that belt. Fuck it, you on punishment? You can't do shit, right? As we know, that's how the grandmother is, right? I remember this story exactly. Just reiterating it. I'm just reiterating the story because it plays a part of how I came to be. Like if you understand my origins, then you understand why I came to be the way I am. So grandmother is livid. She ain't having it. She like, she's on discipline mode. But then my grandfather, he just came in cool. So meaning like my grandmother's like, turn off that goddamn game. You ain't going nowhere. You ain't doing shit. But my grandfather, he let me keep playing the game. At that time, it was like Nintendo 64. I think that was the thing. Let me still play the game, right? All he did was set me down and had a conversation with me. And it was through that one conversation that I got my act together because that's all it took. So meaning it wasn't my grandmother being livid that made me change my ways. What made me change my ways is I just saw how cool, calm, and collected my grandfather was about it. Which their energy was totally different. That's why I am the way I am. Like, I am the way I am because of my grandfather. My grandfather, like, I just never saw him lose his cool. I'm not saying he didn't ever lose his cool, but he made sure not to do it around me. Like I never seen him out of character. Never seen him out of character. So I mean, so his energy was consistent. The entire time I knew him, energy was consistent. He didn't really speak that much, right? So he wasn't a person that talk a lot. That was more so my grandmother. Like yeah, she would be the one, on the phone talking to friends, family. She would be the one that wanted us to call her like once a week. She'd be mad at us, like me and my sisters. If we didn't call her, if it had been longer than a week, she calling us and grilling us like, yo, what the fuck you doing? Y'all need to call me. Like she was pushing that line. Like she understood the meaning of family, right? So that's why when they passed on, I'm like when I began to see them more in my dreams, I began to clearly understand everything that they was doing. It wasn't until after their death that I'm like, oh, I see why that happened. Like a lot of things was revealed after they died. It wasn't even during their lifetime. So going back to my grandfather, he had just set me down. He like you know what that make me feel when you do that? Oh my god, damn. He ain't really had to say much. He ain't had to say much. He like, you know what that make me feel? I'm like, oh man. All right. And they never had that issue again. That's all he had to say. He ain't had to grill me. He ain't do nothing. Like, you know what that made me feel? Like, oh man. Last thing I want is him getting out of character because of some shit I'm doing. Because I want to be a little fucking troublemaker. Because at that age, I ain't gonna lie. I was, I was just tearing shit up, right? So that's what I mean. It's like, I've been this way the whole time. I just became more refined. So now I'm not tearing shit up. Now I'm just more so, I guess I still am tearing shit up, right? I'm like, I'm trying to justify this shit. There is no justifying this shit. I just became more refined. That's all. I'm like, alright. Being a thief is a little bit extreme. You get your hands cut off in certain cultures for doing this shit. So I'm like, alright, that ain't really the route I'm trying to take. You end up in jail, felonies, records. I'm like, alright, I ain't really trying to take that route. So I understand that. They're like, yo, they ain't trying to see me in jail. They ain't trying to see me just, you take from the wrong person. Now they trying to take your whole life away from you. Like, it's all type of craziness that come with that, right? So I understood that. And that's why I changed my ways. I guess I didn't change my ways. I just refined my, that's all. I refined my power. I realized that I had power. I'm like, oh shit, I can really get away with this. But the same way, You see how I be talking shit about other people. You see how I bring it back to myself. I'm like, I know this because I was doing it. So that's how I know that people have power, but it's not refined. I was doing the same shit. I realized like, damn, I can get away with this shit. I can really come up doing this. And at that time, I just took it that seriously. It was Yu-Gi-Oh cards, right? But I took it seriously. Meaning I was going to regionals. Meaning I was one of the best in my city. I was going to the tournaments. Guess who was taking me to those tournaments? My grandmother. She would go out of her way. Meaning it was like a whole city. We had to go to a whole nother city. It was me and the homies. Their mother didn't take them. It was my grandmother that had to take us because it was a whole nother city over. Then their mother's like, yo, I ain't about to. We ain't going that far. I ain't got gas for that. We know. Single mother, she like, yo, I can only do so much. My grandmother stepped in, like, okay, I'm like, y'all really the best in the city like that? Y'all really the best? All right, fuck it, let's go. I said, like, y'all, so she took us. So we was able to go to tournaments. We was able to go to regionals and just be amongst the best in our city. So we was amongst the best, and that's what we did, right? You were a master dueler, absolutely, absolutely. I wasn't playing around with this shit. That's why I'm like, yo, I was so determined to be a master that by any means. That's why I was selling cards. I'm like, I gotta have this perfect deck, and I'm not about to buy the cards individually. I ain't have money like that, so I'm like, yo, I'm taking it. Anything I need to do to be the best. So that's what I was doing at that time. So I went into the dark side because in my mind I felt that I'm the best. I'm one of the best. Again, I reflect on this stuff. I'm like, damn, maybe I wasn't too off, right? Because I go from Yu-Gi-Oh now, I go into tarot cards 10 years later. 10 years later, I'm in the tarot cards. And you see what I do with these tarot cards. So that's what I'm saying. I guess that's also the difference between me and somebody else who got into tarot in a different way. So yes, I had already mastered dueling. So when tarot came up, it's like it wasn't nothing because I had already mastered cards, right? But again, that's just my story, right? So none of this is made up. None of this is fabricated. What's up, Tangela? Greetings, 9393. So you see how I'm revealing my ills, my pains, my hurts. Because it pained me, to see my grandparents and they looking at me like, fuck is you doing? That pained me. That's why I stopped doing it. I'm like, damn, I don't want to pain them. When I see the sacrifice that they're making for me, they put me in private schools. I went to a Catholic school. It's like, so I got that in me too. But that's because of their sacrifice. I'm like, who the fuck am I to just let all that shit go to waste? Because I want to do some I'm utilizing my energy in a negative light when it should be positive, right? Meaning I had to go to church every Wednesday. When I went to a Catholic school, we had to go to church every Wednesday. So every Wednesday I'm in a church as a kid. You know what I mean? Praising those saints. So I'm just giving you the perspective. My grandparents took me to church. Went to a Catholic school. Islam is already in the picture. I'm in Detroit, so boom. So it's like all these worlds. I've been in all these worlds, and it was because of the sacrifice of others that I was able to go into these worlds. I was able to penetrate into these worlds because of the sacrifice of others, the sacrifice of my mother, the entirety of my family. Right? It's like everybody else. That's why we do the same, right? That's why we do the same for our own children. For our family. That's why we do the same because we saw what our elders did for us, right? Or at least that's how I'm looking at it now. Now, if you would have asked me this shit 10 years ago, I would give you a different reply, a different response. But this is just me at this point. That's why I'm so determined to do what I do. And that's why I gave you all 1,000 videos of just me going off, right? Because I know what was done for me. I know the sacrifice that was done for me. So I'm like, who am I not to give that same sacrifice? Oh shit, Cali done popped up in this bitch. What's up, 93? Cali done rolled up on us. Y'all fucking assembling around this bitch. Yeah, now anyway, we in here thick. That's what I'm saying. I was just trying to get in and get out. It don't work like that. I was just trying to get in and get out. Well, I'm just revealing the real shit. Just revealing the real shit. These are the type of things that I had to conquer and master in order for me to be who I am. And that's why, like, when I just take into consideration all these factors, I understand why I'm different than someone else. Or like why spirituality hit me differently than it hit everybody else. Meaning it hit me in 2008. I told you that. So this is before 2012. This is before the Eastern knowledge even took over. That happened 4 years after that. So 2012 happened 4 years after 2008. 2008 is when I started learning about it. So again, I was up on it before it was even mainstream. That's why I told, like, when I was researching the East, I was researching the masters because they were the only ones who was putting out the content on YouTube. You didn't have regular people just talking about this stuff because it wasn't mainstream yet. So when I was looking up all the Eastern knowledge, it was coming from the actual practitioners. It was not coming from scholars. The only people who was creating the content was people who was actually there. Like it was no place for a scholar, and it was no money to be made at that time as well. So you didn't just have the environment wasn't oversaturated with just people who was trying to get a check. So if you were putting your content on YouTube, you were doing it strictly out of love. You wasn't doing it because YouTube was giving you anything back other than subscribers and views and comments and all that. But you wasn't getting a check from YouTube. So you was there because you wanted to be there because you feel like you genuinely had something to offer to the world. That's the original energy. Now once YouTube was bought by Google, then and they started giving out those checks. That's when the whole atmosphere changed. Like now, when people, oh shit, we can get a check off this, and that's when people started showing their motherfucking ass. And that's how we end up where we are today, where it's just nothing but carnage and savagery in every corner of the goddamn internet, right? Because it's motivated by money. I can get paid off clickbait, off telling complete lies. Oh, so and so just got shot, and they didn't get shot, but it's a video and it got thousands of clicks, and it's a fucking lie. This is what people like. People are literally inventing lies just to get clicks and views. Will invent an entire lie. So what does that tell you about their moral code? What does that tell you about their character? When you're, when you're willing to create lies. So it's not even that you're bending the truth. You're just, trying to make the truth more interesting. We're talking about saying things happened that didn't even happen. But because people are so gullible, they're going to click on it and it be absolute lies. This is where we are now, where it's just more profitable, right? It's more profitable to literally create lies than to just be authentic. So that's why we see a lack of authentic people here, because it's easier just to talk about gossip, tell lies, and then you get paid off of YouTube. Meaning the more disgusting you are, the more you're going to get paid. How do I know it? It's all over YouTube. Look at all these people. Again, just imagine if I was just talking real crazy. I appreciate the $5 super chat, Tangela. Salute to you. Much love and respect. Imagine, right? Actually, no, don't imagine, because it's no need to, right? We see it. So what I was saying was, like, just imagine if I took that same route. But it's like I can't, like, it's something within me that just does not allow me to do it. Something that's in me that's not in, hold on. Sorry about that. There's something in me that's clearly not in a lot of people. Because it's like something about that, I like, it wouldn't sit well with me. Like, I'm creating lies just to get a paycheck. Can't do it. I'd rather be the crypt keeper. But that's my own personal decision. I'm not saying that anyone else is obligated to make that decision. I'm like, I just rather be the crypt keeper, right? I'd rather learn how to get it from the crypt than trying to find a way to get a check off YouTube. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And it ain't been worth it for a long time. But because we're technomancers, because we are cyber magicians, to me, this is what we're supposed to be doing anyway. As a technomancer, as a cyber magician, should the foundation not be to secure finances first and foremost? Why do we value spirituality over finance, over economics? What are we doing that? What are we doing here? Because we want to pretend like the world doesn't work the way it works. Why are we pretending? Why are we pretending like the mortgage don't need to be paid? Like let's not fuck around. Like what spirituality don't is not going to stop us from having to pay the damn mortgage. It's not going to stop that car note. You can be ultra spiritual. It's not going to stop that car note. So instead of trying to make ourselves believe that things should be different, how about we just acknowledge that the world is moving in the favor of the technomancers? So if you decide to move in this direction, you will be able to benefit from the direction that we're moving in already. So it ain't even like you're trying to go against the grain. It ain't like you're trying to go against the grain. You're actually going in the direction you should be going in. But it's not an easy decision though. It's not easy to go from local money to worldwide currency. It's not the easiest thing to do. Right? I'm just showing that it can be done. And again, I'm still at the beginning stages, so this is not even what truly can be done. Because again, it's really not enough people really that has been around the whole time and that fully understand the purpose of cryptocurrency. Right? It's not that many people around that really understand, that can really break down how to move strictly off crypto. See, an investor couldn't even tell you that. You can have somebody who's invested who invested 10 grand, 100 grand in Bitcoin. That don't mean that they're living off of cryptocurrency, because that was never their intention. Their intention was to get money. Their intention wasn't to again be the crypt keeper. So all we see is people that's just trying to flip money. We're not seeing authentic people that's like, yo, this is how you should be living. Cryptocurrency should be your way of life. We're not hearing that type of talk though. It's like, okay, invest here and this is the return you're going to get. We're talking about it like it's just another stock. That's how people treat cryptocurrency, like it's just another form of stocks. But it's the exact opposite. Stocks have a time limit, for those who don't know. Right? Stocks is like from 9 to 5. You're also only allowed to make 3 trades per day. You're limited to 3 trades. You're within a bounds of from 9 to 5. And you're limited to, what's available on the stock market. Which is why 90% of the stock market is occupied by, you can say, corporations. So really, the average person only really has access to 10% of the stock market. And that's basically, and we fight each other tooth and nail over 10% of something. We're fighting over 10% while the other 90% is occupied by the giant whales or corporations. I shouldn't be saying anything that's not already known, but you know why it ain't known? because it's a system and they want the system to continue. So why would they tell you how the system works? They want you to participate in the system. They don't want you not to participate. They want you to be invested in the stock market. They want you to prefer the stock market over a cryptocurrency. That's why every time you turn on the news, what are they talking about? The stock market. They're going to talk about the stock market before they talk about cryptocurrency, the crypto market. And that's going to always be the case. They're going to always talk about local dynamics before they talk about worldwide dynamics. That's just going to always be the case. Why? Because most people just simply are still thinking on a local level. Most people's reality don't exist outside of that American dollar. If you over here, the average person, they're not even thinking beyond their own local money. They don't even know a life outside of that green. I was going to say that greenback, even though that's right. But that pyramid on the back of that dollar, they don't know life outside of that pyramid. I try to drop little jewels here and there, but that's a jewel. You may not get that for a while, because that's really telling you why that pyramid is on the back of the dollar. But no, we're not going into that. Let me see what else I got here. Cause I'm down at like 20%. I might as well just let the goddamn phone die, right? So we at 20%, so we're just gonna ride it out. Probably another 20 minutes or so. We'll just let the phone die. We're just gonna ride it out. Cause I know I ain't been around, so that's why like just giving y'all a little extra. Cause I know I ain't been around for a minute, so I'm just giving y'all a little extra. Cause I know I would have been out by now. But these are just thoughts that I just been. You see, it's been 30 days, but goddamn, did this really sound like 30 days worth of thoughts? Cause like I'm trying to say so much with so little time. So I know everybody's not gonna grasp everything. I know I done spoke about a bunch of shit, right? But take what you can from it. Take what you can from it. Don't expect to understand everything. Take what you can from it. Let me see. So yeah, that's what it is. Well, if anybody has any questions, go ahead and ask. We begin to slow it down, wrap it up. So I know I've been running my mouth. But if there's anything on your mind, then make your thoughts known, right? And we'll build on them. Just in case, someone is either agree or disagree. If you disagree, let me know. If you agree, let me know. You know. And this is strictly my perspective. I'm not saying this is the end all be all. I'm just giving you what. Cause again, I'm just not trying to play nothing commercial. Cause as soon as I play something commercial, then they're gonna put ads on the video. So that's why I'm just looking for a beat. Fuck it, I can play my own goddamn music, right? Right? I should be playing my own damn music, right? Like I'm over here acting like I don't have my own damn music. You see, I be forgetting. I be forgetting now. I'm like, damn, I can just play my own shit. I mean, that's just how crazy it be getting. I'm like, damn, I do have my own stuff. Let's see, where is it though? Okay, here. I think this is it. Is this? Yeah, this is it. So yeah, we do got new music on the way as well. Might as well, right? Been talking so much shit about that pen, right? I should be exercising that pen. Anyway, I ain't gonna turn that up too loud. Alright, we gonna chop and screw that shit. You enjoyed the ASMR? Yeah, I can do more ASMR too. You know, I guess I can do it. You know, I can do all this shit, right? I can do all this shit. But that's what I'm supposed to do, right? I'm supposed to show y'all all worlds, right? That's why I don't, do the little music. I do the ASMR. Just showing y'all what it means to be a technomancer. That's why I'm not just running my mouth about it, right? I'm demonstrating it, right? Because it wouldn't be fair to you. It wouldn't be fair for me to talk all this shit and not demonstrate, right? Because I don't care to run my mouth like I used to, right? It's just about the demonstrating, right? But it is what it is, though, right? I don't know. We parents now. God damn it, right? We parents now. I don't think I was a parent when I started my YouTube. No, I wasn't. I wasn't even a parent when I started my YouTube. So my mentality has changed, right? You know what I mean? Got my goddamn son teaching me shit. That's what I like. When I talk to my own son, he talks to me about God, right? That's what he talks to me about. He talks to me about controlling anger. Cause he knows my weaknesses. He knows my faults, right? He reminds me to keep my anger in check. He tells me a law's in my heart, right? That's what my son tells me. He reminds me like, yo, control your anger. God damn it, keep a law in your heart. I'm like, damn, you're right. My son be. That's what I'm saying. The babies are the best. The babies are the best. It's like they be knowing shit that you don't even know. It's like, oh, I ain't even. You don't expect certain shit to come from children, but they know. So when we listen, it's like they don't be telling us nothing wrong. They just can see what we refuse to look at. That's all it is. They can see what we refuse to accept about ourselves. They know it, but they still fuck with us. That's why they're divine. Your child knows your weaknesses. They know your faults. They know you ain't perfect, and they still fuck with you. They doing something that other humans, adults, can't even do right. We can't even accept somebody else's faults. We be fucking arguing and shit. And your child just wants to love you. It's just shit like that just brings me back to reality. I'm like, oh, like I'm arguing with fucking adults. Then your son is like, yo, watch, I'm like, fuck them, right? Control your anger. I'm like, god damn, how am I supposed to disagree with that? Can't disagree with that. So that's what it is. I'm like, god damn, this telling me about myself and shit. But yeah, it hit different when it come from a person that know you, right? It's different when it's just somebody out in the public. They don't know who the fuck you are. They just running their mouth. But when there's a person that know you and they see and they say what needs to be said, and you know it's coming from love, all you can do is accept it. There is no excuse to be made. There is okay, well that was supposed to happen this way. I'm like, you know what, you're right. I need to check my goddamn self because you see what I don't see. So I may miss something. You remind me. And that's to me that's what love is. If we want to even use that word. Like I got you. Or it ain't even that I got you. I got your darkness. I make sure your darkness stay contained. Because I know your darkness. Right? That's how I would interpret it. If somebody who knows your darkness accepts it and then keeps it in line, because they're like, oh, this motherfucker is going to explode. Right? But I'm going to make sure they don't. So it's like they looking out for us more so than us looking out for them. Right? That's how I look at it. I'm like, I ain't gotta look out for him. He gotta look out for me. Cause he clearly already knows what's up. It's me who be getting my goddamn feelings about everything, right? Me being a fucking adult taking shit to heart when I shouldn't be, right? Working with my son, he hooked on phonics, getting better with patience every day, checking myself more and more. And that's real father shit, right? That's real father, right? Because when you really about that, when you're really about that, man, you understand the beauty of children. You understand the beauty of, again, this unconditional love. Like, damn, you know how dark I can get, and you still choose to fuck with me. You don't use that against me like everyone else does. Like, damn, you a dark motherfucker, but I'm gonna keep it in check for you. I'm gonna make sure that it's contained. But again, it's deeper than we realize because we don't be thinking like that with our conditional love. As soon as your partner do something that you don't like, it's a problem. See, we don't be thinking like that. That's why it's all types of forms of love. It ain't just one love. It's many different forms, right? But what I continue to see is children loving their parents. I didn't see full drug addicts with their children right there. I didn't see a man, and he's clearly twisted. He got his son with him though. He got his son with him, and his son just wants to be with his father. Son is just happy that dad's around, type shit. I haven't seen it, and that hit different. That hit different. I'm like, damn, this motherfucker is going off of a pill. This motherfucker, he probably don't know. Hold on. This dude probably don't know where he at. All he know is his son is with him, and his son got him. His son gonna make sure that daddy don't go too far. You don't think the son know that? Oh, yeah, dad's fucked up right now. Well, the son know, but he don't want to hurt you though. That's the thing. He don't want to hurt you. He know he don't want to hurt you though. Same thing for daughters. I don't want to make this a gender thing. They know your flaws and your weakness, but they don't want to hurt you. So again, it's some divine shit. It's divine. I ain't gonna lie, that shit is divine. Because if you pay attention to it, it changes you. Like, god damn, I didn't even give somebody that same respect. The respect I'm being given, I didn't even extend it to a certain person. I'm mad at the fucking world. I be mad and shit. But then you got your son who could get mad as fuck at you, but chooses not to. I'm like, all right, goddamn. I should calm my ass down. Because if a child can do it, then I know I can do it. And then they doing it from their heart. It just coming from their heart. So that's what it is. That's why like it changes you. You know what I mean? Being able to tell my son I love him hits different. It's different. You know what I mean? It ain't gotta be long conversations. It ain't gotta be none of that. You just know like damn, I have to be invested into his future fully, the same way my elders did for me. I just gotta give back the same love because as we see, our turn will come. Eventually, our time will come for you to give what others gave to you, right? You will be called upon to give. And it's all about how you utilize that calling. That's what's going to make the difference, right? Again, when you know you have not been the best person, but there's someone or many people that still have love for you unconditionally, and you know that you're a fucking asshole. I know I can be a goddamn asshole. I know I can. I can even be narcissistic. But again, I'm honest though. I ain't trying to deny anything. But what makes me try to be better is I see people know that too, and they're like, you know what? I'm not gonna use that against you. And I know I can. can, but I make the decision to not to do it. I'm like, you know what? I can be a little soft today. So that's how I look at it, right? I don't have to be extremely just this pure flame. I don't have to come in the force of Pluto. I can come in the form of Jupiter if we want to take it to astrology, right? Let me practice coming in the flow of Jupiter. Let me practice exercising patience and artistry, right? So let me stop this. So that's just where I'm at with it. So yeah, that's why I take time to check myself. I'm like, before I even come on here and present myself, I have to make sure that I'm straight. That's why I don't be just trying to pop up every day. Let me make sure I'm on point. Before I tell you to get on point, let me make sure I'm on point, right? I'm barely eating food, so you want to know about health wise, and it's probably the last, before the battery die. No meat, no meat, no dairy, no wheat, no soy, no sugar. One more time, just in case you missed it. Just in case you missed it. No meat, dairy, wheat, soy, or sugar. That's the type of time I'm on right now. I ain't been eating none of those. I ain't been eating none of that shit. That's probably why I'm here. Because before I made that decision to do that, again, you see, I wasn't caring about even getting on YouTube. It wasn't until I made that decision, maybe I should get on YouTube. I had to cleanse my own body. So I've been doing this for like the past week now. So for the past week, I ain't been engaging in none of that, right? Diet completely changed. So like my system is, I guess I'm not gonna say it's completely clean, but it's cleansed again. So not only am I not eating any of that, I fast majority of the time. I mean, I'm probably only eating once a day anyway. When I do eat, that's just how hard I'm going right now. So even when I do eat, it's only one time, once a day, and I'm not eating none of those 5 things mentioned. So am I telling you to do it? No, I'm just telling you what I'm doing, all right? So that you can understand the energy that I'm coming from and if it's effective or not. So yeah, this I don't get hungry no more. I don't even have a desire for any of that stuff no more. That's the crazy thing about it. But this will be the last point. I've always been this way though. So I can't blame it on spirituality. Meaning I came out of the womb lactose intolerant. So I already couldn't fuck with dairy just because I was lactose intolerant. So if I tried to drink milk, fuck me up. Anything dairy just fucks my stomach up. So I already couldn't eat that. So no cheese, no dairy. So I mean, I already wasn't dealing with that anyway. My diet has always been strict. Since I was a kid, I remember eating dry cereal. Everybody else is eating cereal and milk. I don't have no milk in my cereal. I'm like, I can't do that shit. That shit is disgusting. Everybody eating their goddamn ham and cheese sandwiches. Can't eat no ham, no cheese. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not gonna eat. So, meaning I was that way before I even knew what spirituality was. I was just born that way. I was just born just with a certain type of diet. That's how I know this has to be a continuation of what was already occurring. I'm like, I don't like who the fuck is just coming into this world and you don't even have an American diet. I mean, I don't even have an American diet. I'm in America, but I've never had an American diet, and this has nothing to do with spirituality. Spirituality just reinforced it, like, oh yeah, I shouldn't be eating this shit anyway. But I already didn't have no interest towards it to begin with. So all that fast food shit is like, that shit is like I can like my body can't even handle that shit. I only eat it on occasion, like spiritual. So if I eat any of those things mentioned, it's for spiritual reasons. So I may eat a little candy for the spirits. Or I may, if I'm working with a certain type of energy, I may eat a certain thing. But outside of spiritual working, like, I'm not just doing this for my own satisfaction anymore. All right, and that's what I mean by I just realized that I be taking shit to extremes that I can't expect nobody else to take it there. Okay, I can't expect nobody like, oh yeah, you need to change your diet. Like, I ain't telling nobody to do a goddamn thing. All I can do is tell you what I'm doing. All right. I'm not again, just because I'm this way don't mean that the next person needs to do what I do. Again, we all are our own leaders, right? So you decide what you want your diet to be, but you better have some type of fucking dietary law. I'll say that much. You have to have some type of dietary law, even if it's not my law. It has to be some type of law. You can't be just eating anything. How do we know this? Well, it really started with Helena Blavatsky, which most people don't know. Most people don't know. Helena Blavatsky, who wrote the ISIS Papers and the Secret Doctrine back in the late 1800s, 1888 to be exact. 1888. So we know this is over 100 years ago. It was Helena Blavatsky who first said, because she was the one that was born in the West. I believe she was born in Russia. Helena Blavatsky, I believe, was born in Russia somewhere in the West. She was the one that went to the East by herself, a woman. She went to the East and she mastered their sciences. So this is how I know what I'm talking about here. Because this has already been done. This has already been done. Helena Blavatsky already laid out Eastern occultism better than anybody else possibly could have, even to this day. It's already there. So it was her in the 1800s who first said the reason why you should not eat meat is because your vibration has to be at a certain level for you to even work your magic. This is the words of Helena Blavatsky in the 19th century. So again, there's no coincidence that the California people took that and then they became spiritual. That's why California is different. I'm not saying everybody in California does that, but that science has been there for hundreds of years, right? Sometimes I let the munchies get the best of me. All you gotta do is just be wise about what you eat. Ain't nothing wrong with having the munchies. Just grab a little trail mix. That's all. You're just selective about what you choose to munch on. Grab you a salad. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty to do. There's plenty to eat. So even with those five things mentioned, there's still plenty to eat. You just gotta essentially cook it yourself, right? But again, if you're a vegan, you probably don't cook food. You eat everything raw, right? But here's the issue with that, and this will be my last point, because again, I don't know when this phone is gonna die, right? So I'm just trying to make these quick points. You could have the best diet in the world, but if you don't fast, it's really not gonna account to anything. What do I mean? Meaning you got people that, oh, I'm vegan, I'm vegetarian, yada yada yada, but they still eat every day, 3 times a day. What did Elijah Muhammad tell us? Elijah Muhammad told us to eat once, 1 meal a day. And if you really about it, 1 meal every other day. Those are the words of Elijah Muhammad, the most successful so-called black man in the history of America. Even though we don't recognize him as that, but he was. So, why is it that all these people who have studied and started societies that still exist today, meaning Helena Blavatsky started the Theosophical Society, which still exists today. Elijah Muhammad, he didn't found the Nation of Islam. It was founded by Master Farad Muhammad, but he took it and made it what it is when he was alive in his lifetime, right? He put it on the map, the Nation of Islam. These nations are still in existence. Elijah Muhammad wrote a whole book. What is that book called? How to Eat to Live, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Oh, okay. Just so y'all know that the literature is there. So just in case there's a literature, you need reference. I'm giving you the references, right? So you know that I'm not just saying this shit, right? I'm giving you the sources, which you can debate on your own time. Let's see. I'm just looking at these different songs. Okay. So that's what it is. Just saying all that to say, do not limit yourself. There's chambers that still need to be achieved, but you have to make the proper adjustments to your diet. Because basically you cannot have an American diet. Just to make it full and clear, you cannot have an American diet if you're trying to do magical and technomatic work. I'm not even gonna call it spiritual. Spiritual work, technomatic work, because you can still do spiritual work and be a meat eating motherfucker. So your diet don't really have nothing to do with spiritual, right? Because you can even break your diet for spiritual purposes, which I just explained earlier. You may just be eating meat for as a sacrifice to a certain entity, right? And there are certain spiritual forms that do that. They sacrifice animals, and then you have a feast, and like all the people drink the blood and everything, right? So you got whole traditions that's on that type of time, right? So all I'm saying is, according to Helena Blavatsky, the woman that went to the East and mastered their sciences because they taught her, because they were just astonished that a woman would even do what she did because she was the first to do it. So they gave her the game. She in turn gave it to us. So she mastered the East while Aleister Crowley mastered the West. That's why you got to go through Crowley if you want to know this Western. You got to go through Helena Blavatsky to know the Eastern. That's why it's no coincidence that all these people that have the Eastern knowledge, they don't even know about Helena Blavatsky, and they've never read any of her works. What are the odds of that? The person that laid down, they call her the grandmother of occultism. Meaning without her works, we wouldn't even be where we are today in terms of occultism. So how is it that most people don't even know who she is? You mention her name, the average person is, even the average spiritual person. We ain't even got to talk about the average person that's non-spiritual. I'm talking about the people that actually are spiritual. They don't even know who the fuck that is, let alone her works. Why not? Even Aleister Crowley. They just know they hate his ass, but ask them to quote literature from Crowley, they can't. They just know they hate him. It's the same thing. But can you quote the word from his literature? Books. Can they quote one line from that book? They just know they hate this man, but they can't. They don't read the literature. That's how you know it's emotional. Meaning, how can you really accurately judge a person and you haven't even read their literature? You're just looking at their life and forming an opinion, but you again, the literature is different. Meaning, you may not agree with how somebody chooses to live their life, but how they live their life has nothing to do with you, because it was not intended for you to have an opinion about what somebody else is doing in the first place. So honestly, we should have no opinion about how anybody chooses to live their life. But when they write literature, this is directed towards the masses. This is directed towards the public. That should be more judged than what they were actually doing in their own private life. It's another thing with Crowley. People don't agree with how Crowley lived his life, but you're not going to read any Thelemic literature that tells you to do anything he did. So that means what he did was what he did, but that's not reinforced by Thelemic literature. Meaning that wasn't something that was supposed to be done for everybody. Everybody's going to do exactly what he did. No, there's no thelemic works that backs that up at all. He did what he had to do to bring down a message. But that doesn't mean, okay, well, everybody is supposed to do what he do. No. Because you're not going to find no literature that backs that up. Like, do exactly what he did. You're not going to find that in no literature. But people don't read the literature because they can't comprehend the literature because they are not who they say they are. If you can't even comprehend the literature of Aleister Crowley, you cannot consider yourself an occultist. And you find it hard like, damn, what the fuck is people read his shit and they can't even comprehend words. That's how you know it's all surface. It's the same thing with Helena Blavatsky. These people are masters of the pen. Aleister Crowley is one of the most prolific poets in the history of the goddamn world. He has more writings than majority of people. He has hundreds of documents, hundreds of literature. He is one of the most prolific of them all. But his works are not easy to comprehend unless you have a trained eye. Meaning, like Crowley, his works was never intended for, you could say, mass consumption. That's the first thing. So anybody who have an opinion about what he did or what he didn't do, it was never meant for public consumption in the first place. That's why when you read his literature, does it sound like he's talking to, let me see, it doesn't sound like he's talking to a novice. When you read the workings of Aleister Crowley, especially the Book of the Law, this is not a book for a novice. I mean, there's language in these books that you're not going to comprehend if you're not skilled in the language of the occult. So he's going to go into things that he basically feels you already should know. He's not really taking time to explain anything. You should already know what the fuck is up, which you should. If you take the proper routes, go from the east to the west. By the time you make it to the west, you should be able to comprehend Crowley. If you find it hard to comprehend Crowley, go to Helena Blavatsky. This is the way. This is the route. This is the grandmother and the grandfather of occultism. The very people that nobody wants to fucking mention, like these people never existed, but everybody got their own science. Everybody's creating their own knowledge. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. They laid it down, but somehow we don't want to trace our roots like we just know better than they did. Last time I checked, she was the one that went to the east, places that people are afraid to go even to this day. Last time I checked, it was Crowley who went to places that most people are still unwilling to go to this day. But we're supposed to have some type of opinion of people who really laid down the game, who really made travels and went to the east and brought it back to the west. But we're supposed to have an opinion. Oh, well, I don't like what they're into. Well, how about you take the journey and then you show us the right way? And I'm not speaking about anybody in the video. It's just the people that have opinions about these characters, but they are not willing to do what they did to show us the so-called right way when they say it's the wrong. Well, if it's wrong, what's the right way? All they're gonna do is take us right back to the church. So it's like, that's why I say you just leave people alone, leave the public alone. They're not gonna lead you in the right direction. Leave the 85% alone, right? God damn it. What's up, Rustling? What's up, an unexpected friend? Been listening to the new song non-stop. It's my favorite. I appreciate that. Got more coming. Basically, yeah, once I concentrate my thoughts, that's basically where the music comes from. This is like my thoughts scattered. So when I concentrate my thoughts, that's basically when I put out the music, right? It's more concentrated. All right, you see, I've been running my mouth for hours at this point, right? But I'm just saying what needs to be said. That you're not going to hear from nobody else. How could they tell you this? Again, they can't quote no literature, so that means they don't know. That means they're making shit up. Motherfuckers are just coming, just making stuff up. It's fucking ridiculous, honestly. Like, it's not even sensical at this point. If it ain't coming from Helena or Crowley, it's not sensical. I don't give a fuck what nobody else say. Anybody else came after the fact. They came after Crowley. They came after Blavatsky. Just because they came after don't mean that they're more intelligent. Because they didn't make the same sacrifice that they made. So how will somebody who never even traveled to the East know more about the East than Helena Blavatsky when she learned directly from the feet of the masters? How will somebody go come along and tell her she don't know what the fuck she's talking about? And they didn't do the same thing she did. Well, do what she did and then tell us where she went wrong. But they're not going to do that, though. Same thing with Crowley. Do what Crowley did and show us where he went wrong. They're not going to do it. Take your motherfucking ass to Egypt, to Cairo, and you channel the book of the law. You contact AWAS. And again, not people watching the video, I'm just addressing it to the public. Because this is just what they're unwilling to do, but they got so much energy. The same thing with Donald Trump. Take a walk in Donald Trump's shoes and then see if you still feel the same way you feel about him. Because once the public turn on you and you become, what do they call it? They put you on the cross and they try to crucify you. Maybe you will start to better understand Trump. Because that's all he gets fucking crucified daily. Media, they just hate this man. But again, they never quote any literature. They just hate him because they want to hate him. They just find him distasteful. Oh, he's just a big ass asshole. He a narcissist. But I've never heard anybody who works for Donald Trump miss their paycheck. Going back to the very foundation of this video, I've never heard that. I've never heard anybody who worked for Trump who said that they didn't get paid when they were supposed to get paid. Going back to what I said originally. It don't matter how big of an asshole these people are, how big of a narcissist, they are still making sure that the people are getting paid when they are supposed to get paid. So clearly they possess a skill set that other people simply don't possess because they're not, if we had to rely on them, your paycheck would be late every month because they're too fucking emotional to move in a straight line. They're moving in all type of curves and shit. It's just too stable. But everybody's still getting paid with Trump. And was getting paid the whole damn time. Whether they slandering his name or not, they're getting paid every week or every 2 weeks. So clearly he knows how to run business because I don't hear any complaints and I've never heard any complaints in that area. The only complaints I hear is they just don't agree with his ideology, which is fine. But he's making sure people can pay their goddamn mortgage. He's making sure that that car note is paid. Not just his own, but everybody who he is responsible for, which could be thousands, tens of thousands of people. So that's what I say. Until you are responsible for that many people to make sure that they get paid on time every month, every week, until you hold that level of responsibility, it's no reason to even judge somebody who does. Like somebody like a Jeff Bezos who created Amazon. Until we create an Amazon, who are we to say whether he did that logically or illogically? Well, I don't like this, I don't like that. Who gives a fuck? Because you see, we are so disconnected from what actually matters. Because he very well may be a narcissist and a supreme asshole. I'm not saying that he's not. But I haven't heard about nobody missing a paycheck at the same time, though. So apparently these assholes are paying people on time so that they can live a comfortable life. And I don't see what is there to be mad about that. These people are depended on. And all they have shown is that they can be depended on. That's all that they're shown. It's only the people that just have a personal distaste about whoever it is. These are the people with the problems. But it's never the people who actually matter the most, who are the employees, the people that keep the business going. How can they keep the business going if they're not getting paid? So clearly they're getting paid, and in return they keep the business afloat. It's a give and it's a take. It's an exchange of energy. So same thing with Trump, same thing with Aleister Crowley, same thing with Helena. They all left literature. Because I guarantee if you read Donald Trump's books, you're going to get a different idea of him than what the media puts out there. You're going to get a different idea of Crowley if you read the literature. You're going to get a different idea of Helena if you read the literature. But if you allow the media to influence you, then you're just going to look at them as some devil worshipping, dogmatic hypocrites. Because